AJ, are you going to stay with us? God's Child, good evening to you. Jamaica Brazilian, good evening. Carleen White, hi. Hi, everybody that is joining us tonight. Welcome, 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 welcome. Frost back up. Hi, how you doing? Hey, Joan, sexy plenty. Ah, what a name that is. What a name. CEO Ross, thank you, sir. Got that thing that you said. Nice. Pickney, how you doing? Charmaine, Charmaine, how are things over there in the Bahamas? Doing all right? Presser, haven't heard from you in a while. Presser, Maxine, how you doing, Maxine? Not Maxine Henry Wilson, Neville Whittaker, and Jennifer Forbes. Good evening to you, Kerry. Hi. Is it hot in the Bahamas, Charmaine? I don't think so. It's raining. Yardi Diva, bless you. You'll be here every night. What about Singer Oliver? Okay. All right. We're gonna get the show rolling. Let me tell you this. Jamaica. Hi, Jem. Press up. Okay. Jamaica. Yardi Diva. Thank you for the for the for that. Thank you. By the way, Yardi Diva, I noticed you have been very kind to us. Thank you so much. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you so much, Val Thomas. Yeah. Heart Me's, please. Donny Queen. Heart Me's, please. Please send the heart me's. Everybody. Roses and taps and heart me's. Roxy Smith forever. Great evening to you, Roxy. Please repost the live. Yeah, you're doing well so far. We've gone to 80 people. Let's get up to 100 now, please. Let's get to 100 before I start anything here. Thank you, Caroline. Let's get to 100. Oh, Miss Cheerful, thank you. Thank you, Miss Cheerful. Yeah. Thank you, Jem, for reposting. Blackie, you're requested to join. Can't join until about 8 o'clock. You hear? 8 o'clock, you start your mind, or just after 8 o'clock. Hello, Miss Cheerful. Light up the world. Catherine Aquarius, thank you so much. Jamaica Brazilian. Wow. By the way, you guys are into football, watching the World Cup. Hello, Steve. Humble Vicky, how you doing? We're at 88. Let's get to 100 quickly. Come on. Kalis TJ. Yvonne, God bless you. 94. Yeah, let's keep going. Keep going. 94. That's great. Let's go to 100 now. 96. Thank you. All right. 93. No, we're backing the. Come on, we're not doing well. Let's get it up to 100. If we don't get to 100, then we can't continue. Let's go. Come, we don't. 89. We're going backwards. Shauna, good evening to you. Richard, hello to you. By the way, my friends on YouTube are coming over there to you. See, soon come. All right. Let me tell you this. I believe that if the Jamaica Labour Party starts to sell itself, it can win 50 seats in the next election. I looked at it today. I think the Labour Party can win 50 seats at the next election. I don't think that the Labour Party can only win the next election. I think they can win 50 seats. The problem with Jamaica is that the people don't understand. There are more labor rights in Jamaica than PNP, you know. A lot more. There's a lot more support in Jamaica for the Labour Party than for the PNP. As a matter of fact, I think that the Labour Party has twice as much support than the PNP. My, and this is my projection right now suggests that the PNP has about 300,000 supporters. I think support for the Labour Party is close to 700,000. I'm going to tell you that again. I can prove it to you. The PNP has about 300,000 supporters across the country. The Labour Party is close to 700,000. In other words, the support for the Labour Party is about twice that of the People's National Party. But how you convert that to electoral success is a different ball game. And I believe that the Labour Party is not doing as good of a job at converting goodwill into votes. I can help them to do it. Well, I think I'm going to do something for the party tonight. Well, I hope I'm doing it every night, but I think it is important to do it. Give me a second. Let me take that off. Good evening to you, Caroline. How are you?
Hi, good evening, neighbor. I'm doing well.
Had a great day?
Yes, I had a lovely day.
You
How
had a
about
lov-
you?
No, not such a good day. Well, had a lot of work to do, and you know, very.
Well, that's a good day, neighbor.
Yes, yes, yes. Caroline. I don't know if you heard what I was just saying, because I spent much of today um researching something, and I don't know if you know that the Jamaica Labour Party is can win 50 seats in the next election. I'm putting that out there. 50. You know that?
Of course, neighbor.
I'm going to
Can win
suggest. I'm going to suggest to you that the functionaries of the party are lazy when it comes on to political work. They're kind of lazy, and I don't know if it is that they are comfortable in government, or they are heavily reliant on the prime minister. But I find that the prime minister is carrying the party, and I believe that the work of the party needs to be shared in greater measure to the others. One of the things I found out today, moderator, look at the numbers. My goodness, we are over 200. Is that
Yes, but remember, just before you go there, I think we should take into consideration, neighbor, that we had a massive hurricane last year, right? And the party is also the party that forms government, which means that they are very busy, neighbor. It's a lot of work to put Jamaica back together,
Yeah, but that busyness can be translated into votes, Caroline, into goodwill for the party. Goodwill for the party.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me tell you, the Jamaica Labour Party can win 50 seats at the next election. 50. And I'm not going to reveal the strategy just in case some others are here, because I look at it today and I think, this is a 50-seat country in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party. It is a 50-13. It is a 50-13 country right now. The whole of Jamaica, I go green, but there's a catch to it.
As it should be.
Yeah, there's a catch to it. The fact of the matter is that you have to convert goodwill into electoral success, and that is where the challenge is. And I think we're going to do a little bit of that tonight. The prime minister here, Andrew Holness, is misjudged. You see, what has happened, you see, Caroline, is that people expect a lot of Mr. Holness, but they have not judged Mr. Holness based on what he has inherited. They have judged Mr. Holness based on what they want him to deliver. But you have to judge him based on what he got to deal with. You understand what I'm saying to you? So it is a it's a misdirection, and it is very psychological. Where Jamaicans are misjudging him, and I believe that the party will have to package their message to Jamaicans and let Jamaicans know what they inherited, Caroline. And that is why we have been looking at this series of collapse, because we want people to understand that this prime minister here is, I don't have words to describe him, how great he is.
That's correct.
And what he has been doing. And I believe, Caroline, that he has been treated unfairly, very, very and he has been misjudged. He has done a marvelous job for Jamaica, Caroline. Andrew Holness.
He's doing great, Neighbour. He continues to, Neighbour. But Neighbour, I've been listening to some conversations on TikTok, right? And what I hear a lot of comrades talking about is that they don't want to hear about then, they just want to hear about now.
Well, it is not possible. It is not possible to.
If we don't understand where we're coming from and the condition that the Prime Minister inherited this country, Neighbour, we will not be able to appreciate the now. We have to understand the past so we can appreciate the present and the future.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And this is what we are going to help to unravel tonight. So let's get into the program, and I want to thank the listeners. By the way, we're going to be having a special program tomorrow, eh?
Oh yes, definitely. We will be having a collaboration with Natalie, JPU.
Yes.
Right.
Wow, you pulled that off.
We don't want to miss that.
Okay, so that JPU will be here tomorrow at 7:30.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be a crack of a program.
I'm sure it will be. She's so amazing.
Yeah, it's going to crack of a program tomorrow, 7:30. So listeners, you wanna tune in tomorrow, 7:00, when Natalie will be here with us, to bring in perspective to a lot of the issues that we have been discussing all week. But let's get to the program. Let me give you the rundown, and it's 14 after 7:00. You want to talk to the listeners, Caroline?
Well, I just want to say good evening to everyone and to welcome everyone, and I hope everyone had a great day. And as usual, I ask those on YouTube to like, share, and subscribe. And for those on X, repost the live stream. And on TikTok, we ask you to tap, share, comment, repost, and send the heart me's as well. All right, Neighbour, have a great show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Jamaica's current frustration with slow progress is real, but it is misdirected. To judge Prime Minister Andrew Holness as a failure without studying the context of collapse is philosophical unfairness. Jamaica moved from being on the menu of global crisis in the 1970s and 1990s to at the table of self-directed decisions today. That transition is not miracle, it's management. Fair judgment demands context before condemnation. Every Jamaican that criticizes Andrew Holness is in error. Every Jamaican. every Jamaican that vote against Mr. Holness has voted in error. And I put it to you tonight that the government led by Andrew Holness should win no less than 50 seats in the next election, if we can get this right. Every household has an unwritten rule. You don't curse the cook for a burnt kitchen. He didn't burn. Yet the national life of Jamaica is breaking that rule. We see slow roads, high cost of living, persistent crime, and we ask, what has Holness done? What has Holness done is a valid question. The framing is not. Because the deeper question is not what did Holness do, but what did Holness inherit? Because leadership is not judged in a vacuum. Leadership is to be judged in context. A doctor is not blamed for the cancer the previous doctor missed. A fireman is not called a failure because the house was already burning when he arrived. What did the Prime Minister inherit? If you are going to judge Mr. Holness properly, you have to look at what did he inherit. And if you look at what Mr. Holness inherited, you cannot but not vote for him. If you look at what the Prime Minister inherited in 2016, you have to vote Labour. And I am challenging you to pause and let us have a conversation on context. And at the end of the day, you're going to put your X squarely beside the bell. If you sit here tonight and listen to me, and you are objective and fair, you would have to put your X squarely beside the bell. Not because you are partisan, but because you are fair. Prime Minister Holness has fixed the broken pipe. It is not up for debate. It is just the truth. And so I'm going to argue tonight. I'm going to argue that Jamaica has moved from the menu and it is now on the table. I'm going to argue that when Holness took government in 2016, Jamaica was on the menu. And Jamaica, under Holness, has moved from the menu to the table. I am going to argue that the stewardship of Holness is never going to be outdone by any prime minister coming after him. That he is undoubtedly the greatest prime minister Jamaica has ever seen and will ever see. He will not be outdone. His legacy is amazing. I hope that I can take the scales off your eyes if you are listening to me, because unless you remove the scales, you will not see the points I want to make to you tonight. I don't want you to go away. I want you to be objective. And if I am wrong, I want you to come up later on and say to me, neighbor, you are wrong. You're not speaking the truth. And I want to show you that the ills of the society cannot be blamed on Mr. Holness. And I want to prove to you that if you are an objective person, at the next election, you will vote for the Jamaica Labour Party. Because in voting for the Jamaica Labour Party, you will be voting for truth and honesty. If you are a honest person, you cannot not support this government. What is happening in Jamaica is nothing short of miraculous. Nothing short of miraculous. As a matter of fact, I can tell you this, that I believe God has intervened in Jamaica's case. I believe that the divine hand of God has intervened to save Jamaica. Jamaica was crushed and was going to the dogs. It is true. And I believe that God has intervened, and that the people of Jamaica, if they don't give thanks to God, will be judged as being ungrateful and ungracious. Lift your hands and praise the Lord. Say hallelujah. Say amen. It's true. I believe that Jamaica is missing thankfulness. Thankfulness because of tribalism. Political tribalism is causing us not to see how blessed we are. The favor of God is upon Jamaica, because this has to be a miracle. It has to be a miracle. What is happening to Jamaica is a miracle, and it is being led by the servant of the Lord, Andrew Michael Holness. And I want the citizens of Jamaica to judge movement with context. Because if we don't do that, we are going to waste anger on the wrong target and repeat the psychology of collapse. The psychology of collapse is what we are dealing with. And I want you to draw your chair a minute and listen to former finance minister, former Minister of Finance, Mr. Audley Shaw, as he made his budget presentation in 2014.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
This is just before the Labour Party.
Please tap the screen and please keep the comment section extremely busy, please. Thanks.
On the occasion.
Remember, the Labour Party took power in 2016. This is Mr. Shaw speaking in Parliament in 2014. Remember now,
leadership in this house.
I want you to understand where we have come from. Many of you talking about Andrew Holness, Andrew Holness, Andrew Holness. I am asking you to judge what he got. He did not burn down the kitchen. He did not cause the cancer. The patient, Jamaica, is cancerous. And Andrew Holness is the doctor fixing the cancer. He didn't cause the cancer. But it's not that the cancer is out yet. The cancer that Jamaica had, and Holness don't cause it. As a matter of fact, when Holness, the cancer infected Jamaica before Mr. Holness was born. I beg on no Jamaicans. Stop blame Mr. Holness. Stop it. Be fair in your judgment. Be fair, I beg you. I ask of you in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, be fair. He did not cause the problems of Jamaica. My God, my God, my God. Jamaicans, stop it, Jamaican. Stop it. You hear what I tell you? Stop it. Stop pointing fingers on this man. This man is not, he's not the cause of the problem. He is fixing a problem he did not create. Stop it, Jamaica. And all of you that are disrespecting the Prime Minister, you're not going to lose a blessing. God is not going to favor you, you know. He did not cause the problem. Listen to Mr. Shaw.
Parliament. And I want to brief discussion on the macroeconomic. Can be assured that whatever observations I make will be well grounded in the incontrovertible truth. It will be supported by facts, by real life, everyday.
I want to show you where Jamaica is coming from. 2014, here is Jamaica. Listen carefully. Those are you blaming Mr. Holness for the problem. Listen. Listen to Jamaica.
Experiences. Listeners will be obliged to receive the information either in loud or quiet agreement. Any denial to the contrary will be a contrivance, Mr. Speaker, a fabrication by persons either in self-denial or with their heads buried in the proverbial sand of political expediency.
And that is so true. The proverbial sand of political expediency. That is what is inflicting Jamaicans that going to the poll, putting X beside head. No X, nothing go beside no head. You are to vote for your country. Stop put X beside head. It hasn't served you well. I said, Neighbour, you're campaigning? Oh, well, I'm campaigning for Jamaica, so. Go ahead, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, what is the state of the nation today?
The state of the nation in 2014. Listen. Those of you blaming Holness. Listen.
As I participate in this budget debate today, the question must be asked, what is the true state of the nation? Because when I listened last week Thursday, I thought the only thing that was left to flow was milk and honey. Over the past 2 years and 4 months of the administration of this government, the condition of the lives of the citizens of Jamaica has sharply worsened. The overall annual unemployment rate is at a 12-year high at 15.3% for 2013.
You hear that? Holness did not create that. Unemployment in 2014 was 15%. It is 3% now. Those of you who are saying, I can't vote for Holness, you never had a job. Unemployment before Mr. Holness took office, Holness is the greatest prime minister. Let me tell you something. Guys, you don't know what you have. You don't know what you have in Andrew Holness. You don't. Andrew Holness has strapped Jamaica on his back and has pulled us out of the sinkhole of disaster. We were on our way to hell under the PNP. Listen to Mr. Shaw. I'm just laying the foundation before I tell you why you cannot but not vote for Holness. 50 seats in 2030. 50. Labour Party must win 50 seats. Not 30, 50. All right. And I'm going to... Okay, hold on.
Unemployment among young people aged 20 to 24 is 35.2%, but about...
Unemployment among young people, 35%. You hear that? In 2014, before Holness became government, unemployment among young people was 35% of people in Jamaica could not find work. Now you ask you a question today. Can you find work? It is what Mr. Holness inherited. The questions we are asking are wrong. Don't blame Holness. Commend Holness. Do not blame. You are blaming the wrong man. Why are you blaming him? Because guess what? We are fed a diet that somehow he can fix it magically. Because he's the prime minister. So the responsibility falls to him. I agree with that. But let's be fair. Let's be fair in our assessment here. 40 years of decline to be fixed in 10 years. Comrades, 40, you can imagine a man take over a country with unemployment among young people at 30. How long it take you to build factories and get investment in? You know, I was going to take you back as far as to the 1980s. A speech Mr. Siaga gave. Mr. Siaga, when he won the election, was invited to the White House, you know, to meet with President Reagan. The first head of state to visit the United States was Eddie Siaga. And the United States and Jamaica set up a committee. There was a hotline out of Kingston into Washington. Labour Party trying to create jobs for the people of Jamaica. And I don't want to start telling you the truth, but the people of Jamaica is an ungrateful people. Is an ungrateful people. Some of you know, grateful for what people do for you. There was a hotline in Kingston. Eddie Siaga and President of the United States. They set up a hotline. Private sector in Jamaica was working with private sector in Washington to create opportunities and jobs for the people of Jamaica. And by 1983, they wanted Mr. Siaga out. How do you take a country with an unemployment among young people at 35% and fix it in 2 years? Where you going to get the jobs from to give them? You know, if you build civic literacy, too much uneducated people in our country, man. Too much undereducated people. Too much people when I read. Too much people with had to believe in the lies. Too much foolishness are going on in the country. Too much rubbish, too much nonsense. Too much uneducated people there. So them not understanding. You can't wave a magic wand and create jobs, guys. You can't just wave. You know how long it takes to build a road? You have to secure the funding. It have to go through the procurement processes. How can it be done in 10? Anyway, taking up too much. Listen.
On young women at the same age, it is even higher at 44.1% at October 2013, Mr. Speaker.
October 2013, 44% of women in Jamaica couldn't find work. 44% of women in Jamaica could not find a job. 44%. Let that sink in. Those of you who are blaming Mr. Holness, listen.
Please repost the live, everyone.
These are not propagandist statements I'm coming here to make. These are facts. 44% of women couldn't find no work under the People's National Party. Are you going to blame Mr. Holness?
The cost of living has sharply increased due to a 27% devaluation of the Jamaican dollar against the United States dollar, moving from $86.60 to $1 at the end of 2011 to $109.96. Easy to just round it off at $110 now to $1. The price of chicken back and basic foods, Mr. Speaker, has flown to unreachable heights, while oxtail and steak are now delicacies no longer promised in the public square.
Well, you know. But I tell you, just 2 years in government, and the dollar went from $89 to $110. 2.5 years the PNP was in power for, and the dollar slipped by over 20%. Jesus, my God. Oh, it is fun. Listen to Mr. Shaw.
And it was not promised by us. The fact is, by even the most conservative assessment of prices of basic foods, one will find that the prices have increased, Mr. Speaker, at least twice the rate of the official inflation. This is certainly not balancing the people's lives, as is the passion of the Honorable Prime Minister. The cost of electricity continues to increase apace, closing down some businesses, putting more people out of work, causing more disconnections of service, sending families to steal electricity or resort to the home sweet home lamp. In March, our light bill
under the PNP, the people had to be using home sweet home lamps. That is in 2014. We're talking about what Holness inherited, and that he is to be judged based on the hand he was given to play. Under PNP, a lamp people had to use. Home sweet home lamp. You remember how many fires you used to have? Because people had to be use candles. They couldn't pay the light bill. And it's not because the bills were high. It's because they couldn't find no work. 44% of women couldn't find work. Young people, 25% unemployment. What a bitter period. And you're blaming Holness? Jamaica today is a different place. We have more from Mr. Shaw. Listen.
Bills have been further increased by another 10%. One lick. And as we speak, the JPS has applied to the OUR for a 21% increase, and even as they promise a 2 to 8% reduction to large industrial users in return, Small businesses, Mr. Speaker, will be called upon to pay 15% more for electricity, further eroding their fragile competitiveness. And even as our manufacturers and exporters put up a brave face and went to the national arena to display their goods, many of them worried privately and not so privately that they just don't know how much longer they can survive in business with a sliding dollar, increased cost of electricity, declining consumer demand due to the severe contraction in the economy and its negative impact on people's purchasing power. Mr. Speaker, we must look at the statistics. The volume of total cargo at our ports is at a 5-year low at 22 million tons per year. When the JLP left office, our ports were handling some 30 plus million tons per year. At the end of 2013, volumes were 25% lower. That is not progress, Minister. The Economic and Social Survey of 2013 showed that the household poverty rate increased. Household poverty, Mr. Speaker, has increased by 2%, moving from 12.4% in 2010 to 14.4% in 2012.
You hear that? As soon as the PNP took power, household poverty start to go up. That is 1 year into the term, you know. Household poverty start to go up. And I think they said the PNP love the poor. Is that what loving the poor means? You love the poor. Mama P was talking about balancing books while balancing people's lives. No lives need a balance. Poverty. The party that loved the poor, 1 year into their term, poverty start to go up. Household poverty. Boy, may I tell you something. Jamaica suffer under PNP. Jamaica suffer under PNP, you know. And that's why I'm telling you, come 2029 and 2030, the Jamaica Labour Party must lead the most massive public education campaign that this country has ever seen. We need to deliver our people from ignorance, civic illiteracy. People must know. Marlon Morgan, the people must know. Dana Morris Dixon, they are to know where we are coming from. The people of Jamaica must not go into the next election unaware of their history. They must not, and the responsibility falls to the Jamaica Labour Party. And it must begin now. The party must engage fiercely, forcefully, aggressively. Its bloggers, its surrogates the most massive public education campaign need to start now. Every Labourite, every blogger must be focused because we need to pull the wool off of the eyes of the Jamaican people. Take off the scales off of them eyes and show them. Because when them go into the booth, they're going there for mark. I must see some spirit. If a spirit upon them, we have to go take it off. Whatever is on them that is causing them to vote. Otherwise, we have to break that spell there. It can't work. You can't have a party that poverty keep the country poor. We don't want them. We don't want them. Not happening in Jamaica. You better change. If you don't change, and I'm serious about it. I'm very serious about it. There must be a public education. The government need to put budget on it. To open the eyes of the Jamaican people, to take the scales off their eyes so that they can see and understand what the PNP really means. Let's listen a little bit more to Mr. Shaw.
My guess is that it's even worse if you factor in the figures for 2013. Jamaica has slipped 7 places, Mr. Speaker, on the United Nations Development Program Human Development Index, from 79th place to 86th place. Showing.
You hear that? 2 years into the PNP term of office, the Human Development Index went down by 7%. What is the problem with the PNP? What is the problem with the comrade? What happened to them? Why they Mr. Shaw will show you the NIR. What is wrong with the PNP government? And this is under Portia Simpson Miller. The country was going down to hell. It doesn't matter how the Labour Party builds up Jamaica. The PNP broke it down back. It no matter how the Labour Party build it up, the PNP is a broke down party. It's a broke down party. Comrades, is a broke. It's a broke down party. Broke it down party. Broke it down. Billy up, we broke it down. Billy up, we broke it down. Billy up, we broke it down. Listen to me. A serious thing we are talking about now. No joke, Serious thing, Okay.
Or worsening poverty. Mr. Speaker, you can feel the poverty. You can.
Mr. Speaker, you can feel the poverty. Oh, God. Mr. Speaker, you can feel the poverty.
See it as you travel the length and breadth of Jamaica. It is palpable.
It is palpable. In other words, it's on the faces of the people. Mr. Speaker, you can see it as you travel the length. This is 2014. That is before Andrew Holness became Prime Minister. Be honest with me, guys. Do you see that poverty when you travel Jamaica today? Do you see it? Can you see poverty palpable around Jamaica? Be fair. Put it in the chat. I'm not saying that paradise is here. But one thing I can tell you, people are doing better today. They are doing better than they were in 2014 under the People's National Party. I'm not even taking you back to the 90s or the 70s. This is under Portia Simpson Miller, the poor people Prime Minister. It gets even worse. Listen to Mr. Shaw.
One social scientist has recently declared that 1.1 million Jamaicans are below the poverty line.
1.1 million Jamaicans were below the poverty line under the PNP. That's what Mr. Holness inherited. I want you to be fair to him. I want you to be fair to Andrew Holness, Jamaicans. I want you to be fair to him. Give him his due. He has done well, guys. 1.1 million Jamaicans were poor in a population of 2.8. Social scientists say so. Don't be critical of Mr. Holness. Mr. Holness did not cause Jamaica's problem. Mr. Holness is fixing Jamaica's problems. Go out and support him. Take off your orange shirt. Go and support Mr. Holness. 2030, change your mind. Vote for progress. Vote for a leader that has rescued your country from collapse. Jamaica was a failed state. And Holness has taken us off the menu and put us on the table. He deserves your support.
1.1 million people. Meanwhile, it's not the first time we've heard that figure. The World Bank has used that figure before, referring to how marginal we are. Meanwhile, there has been no publication of the Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions for over 2 years.
The PNP could not post the Jamaica Survey of Living Condition. For 3 years, the PNP couldn't post it. It was so bad. They couldn't post the Jamaica Survey of Living Condition because of the poverty that was upon Jamaica's land. The poverty was so bad that the PNP had to be hiding the figures. Couldn't post it. Don't blame Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness did not cause that. Andrew Holness did not cause the poverty. Stop talking about Andrew. See Andrew as your savior. See Andrew as your deliverer. See Andrew as your rescuer. It's Holness that fixed Jamaica today, that you can have a job.
Mr. Speaker, the feeling of increasing poverty is becoming quite pervasive and is amplified in a recent statement by the Reverend Lenworth Anglin.
Reverend Anglin is going to tell you, this is the church. Listen carefully. The church had to step in. It was so bad that the church, when the church had to step in to make a statement on the poverty, and guys, this was 2014, you know, before deliverance started under Holness. Listen to what the church said. Listen carefully.
President of the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, representing 99% of the Christian community in Jamaica.
99% of the Christians had to come out. Listen carefully what the church came out and said about the poverty in Jamaica. Listen.
Here is what he had to say.
Listen.
I quote, basically, people are fearful. People are suffering financially.
They're suffering.
And the cost of living is too high.
Oh, God.
People are not earning, and then there is a loss of jobs. The unemployment rate is just too high.
My God.
And so there is a general suffering around, which is evident. He continued, the minister is trying to appease our minds, but we are feeling it on the ground.
My God.
He then said, quote,
yes,
I have never seen so many needy people,
oh God,
in all of my life.
I'm sorry. You hear that? You hear? No, sir, no, good God Almighty, PNP wicked. Church. This is Jesus Christ Almighty God. The church came out and said they have never seen so much poor people in their life. Never see it. It is no joke, Rachel Nelson, but I'm telling you, it is funny to hear. Oh God, praying for Jamaica, and yet still never blame. And these people are getting $3,200 if the church can say so. Listen to what the church say. Mr. Shaw, tell us again.
That the rich are no longer getting richer.
Hold on.
Trying to appease our minds.
Yes.
But we are feeling it on the ground.
Feel it.
He then said, quote, I have never seen so many needy people in all of my life, and they are coming to the church.
Coming to the church.
That is the president of the umbrella group of churches.
The church came out in 2014 to say they have never seen so many poor people in their life. That's what Holness inherited. I want you to remember. Those of you who are criticizing the Prime Minister, he never caused that. He was not the Prime Minister. He never caused it. Be fair in your assessment. The church said they have never seen so much people, poor people in them life. PNP are wicked, man. PNP, we're gonna do it, man. We're gonna treat Jamaican people so. We're gonna treat people so, man. In PNP, we're gonna treat the Jamaican people so. Why? Why not do it? Why not treat Jamaica so? And now not criticize the Prime Minister? You know, I heard Miss Jess. I heard Miss Zulika Jess. And you know, Miss Zulika Jess, I'm going to probably take you on one night because I think you don't know what you're talking about, you know. But anyway, leave Miss Jess for the minute. Go back to Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Speaker, the fact is that the rich are no longer getting richer. The middle class is rapidly becoming the lower class. The lower class is becoming the poor. And the poor is no longer getting poorer. They are getting poorer.
The poor are getting poorer. Poorer. The poor were getting poorer. This is classic manna yard. Classic manna yard. The poor are getting poorer. Let's listen Mr. Shaw again.
Group of churches. Mr. Speaker, the fact is that the rich are no longer getting richer. The middle class is rapidly becoming the lower class. The lower class is becoming the poor. And the poor is no longer getting poorer. They are getting poorer.
You hear that? Poor people were suffering in Jamaica. Our time is going. Let's speed this up a bit, and it's already 8 o'clock. Let's speed this up.
Honorable Prime Minister, I'm sorry, but you're not balancing the people's lives. Vital drugs needed by people who can't afford it are increasingly unavailable at public hospitals. One patient recently came to me with one item unfilled from 3 prescriptions given at the hospital. It turned out, Mr. Speaker, to be by far the most expensive of the 3 items of drugs vitally needed. Additionally, an increased number of patients with chronic illnesses like renal failure and cancer await the mercy of the government, the IMF, and the expenditure. And even as we claim to meet our expenditure targets to pass another IMF test, vital services such as repairs and sanitation in schools are cut. Help for the disabled is cut. Trucking of water and new supply systems are cut. While raw sewage runs where we sell food in downtown Kingston, and where our people live and children play in the inner cities, including Tall Fence in Spanish Town. Thousands of people are keeping their children out of school, some for days, others for weeks, because they...
You hear that? People couldn't even send their people to school. Speeding it up, because we have much to cover.
can't afford the lunch and the transport money, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, despite the best efforts of the PATH program, parents are having it very, very tough out there. Madam Prime Minister, we are not balancing our people's lives. All across the land, Jamaicans are stressed out. The worker is stressed out to make ends meet. The businessman is stressed to try and cope with the hostile business climate. The transport operator is stressed out as he's called upon to find an extra $750,000 for a license and to duke his bus while his income stream is declining. Many people across Jamaica are now buying bread by the half, the quarter, or the slice. They are buying one egg. Mr. Speaker.
People were buying bread by the slice. The slice. People were buying bread by the slice. My goodness.
Many people.
People start buying bread by the slice. Now, look what Jamaica come to. Look what Jamaica was brought to. Look what Jamaica under PNP came to. That the people of Jamaica had to be buying one slice of bread. My God. Huh? Under the PNP, they start cut bread selling by the slice. Is PNP make bread start sell by a slice with a man? Andrew Holness never caused that. By the slice? Listen.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know what about that excited some people like that. But let me say it again. Many people across Jamaica are now buying bread by the half, by the quarter, and by the slice. Some people are buying egg, Mr. Speaker, by the one.
One egg. By the one. Boy, I tell you, rough.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, go downtown. They're buying it by the one, they're buying a Frankfurter by the one, and they're buying a squeeze of toothpaste by the one.
A squeeze of toothpaste. There was a time when a squeeze of toothpaste, people were buying a squeeze of toothpaste. Wow.
Mr. Speaker, due to Mr. Speaker, some people don't believe about the squeeze of toothpaste, But some time ago, it used to be beggar squeeze of toothpaste, Now it is not beggar squeeze. Now it is senior squeeze of toothpaste. Due to the gross mismanagement.
All right. I think we can leave. Mr. Shaw there. I think I have provided you enough context there in terms of where we are coming from. That's where Jamaica is coming from. People are buying one egg, one squeeze of toothpaste, 1.1 million people in poverty. No jobs available. Raw sewage running all over the place. Jamaica is on the brink of absolute poverty and disaster. And I show you this. The Prime Minister of Jamaica today made these comments in when he was opposition leader.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is reiterating his government.
This is Mr. Holness now, having won the election in 2016. Very close election. Here is Mr. Holness as he sets out how he's going to begin the process of change in Jamaica. Mr. Holness did not cause the problem. This is Holness trying to fix the problem. Scene TV gave us this report. Go ahead.
Growing the economy, Holness says one of his main targets will be ensuring that business ideas and projects are facilitated in a timely manner. Leslie Sherwood has the details.
It should not take 3 years to complete an investment, where with improved processes, it can take 18 months. We must remove the red tape in order to improve government efficiency.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness proposing to do things differently. According to Mr. Holness, Jamaica's growth prospects have been stifled over the years as a result of cumbersome government processes and unnecessary red tape investors and other business interests have had to contend with. He says the government is moving to change the way in which investments get off the ground. Making his budget presentation in Parliament on Tuesday, an optimistic Holness says the establishment of the new Super Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation will lead the charge in stimulating and facilitating investments across a range of sectors.
Mr. Speaker, one of the most striking things that I have had to deal with since taking charge of the government is the number of investors that have come to my office to say.
So when you understand the context of where Jamaica is coming from, then you will appreciate the power of this government. And it's a big problem in Jamaica, because I think the way we are communicating, we are not communicating in context. We are communicating in the moment. But if you're a good teacher, you know that you have to link things for people to understand. And the best way for Jamaicans to understand how well this government has done is to show the government, the people, where we're coming from. Andrew Holness is being judged in 2026. Holness is to be judged against pre-2016 when he came to power. And the strategy of the party is to do that. The information minister, when she speaks every time, must speak to where we're coming from. I don't know if you listen to Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom. Listen to Keir Starmer as he answers the question at Prime Minister's question time. He always reminds the British people about the Conservative record, because people expect things to happen right now. Fix it now. You are the Prime Minister, get it done now. But that's their expectation. You can't kill them for that. However, like Julika Jess in Parliament, talking about the state of the justice system, as if the state of the justice system came about in 2016. The dilapidated courthouses did not become dilapidated since 2016. Those courthouses were built some 30, 40 years ago. Where was the budget to repair them? Where was the budget to maintain them? Andrew Holness is being blamed for what he did not create. And the party needs to unshackle the Prime Minister of this baggage and throw it back on the PNP. And the people of Jamaica are not them the fool. I think the Labour Party can win 50 seats in the next election. I think so. But it must contextualize the message. Holness did not inherit a country growing. Holness inherited a broken country that was on the menu. And the process of taking a country from the menu to put it on the table is a remarkable achievement. But we view things in Jamaica through partisan lens. In a civic illiterate society, people think based on the color of their jersey. And the unscaling, the scales on the eyes of the people can be removed. And I will show you how you can take off those scales, because it can be done. Because in this global village, where people look at Dubai and look at Singapore and look at Canada, they think that, well, Jamaica should be like that. We should have these things too. You can. But you can't blame the cook who comes into the kitchen and found the food burned up already. You can't blame the painter because the builder has not finished the house yet. You're blaming why the place not paint yet. Well, I'm not finished build it yet. We haven't yet put the paint on the wall because we are just erecting the building. Andrew Holness' greatness needs to be packaged differently. The Prime Minister has done too much not to be vastly more popular. And quite frankly, based on Holness's achievement, he should be unchallenged electorally in Jamaica. And I think it can be done. I really think so. I really think if Jamaicans begin to have a conversation, they will realize that Andrew Holness has rescued this country from collapse. Listen to the Prime Minister, 2016. Because many people talk about Holness 2026. But Holness has always had a vision. Holness has always realized what is to be done. And he's doing it. But it can't be done in 10 years. It can't be done in 10 years. So Miss Zulika just talk foolishness. I don't even know why Mr. Chuck bothered to respond to her. All right, 14 after 8 o'clock. We have to judge leadership in the context of collapse. Andrew Holness is not being judged fairly. The problems of Jamaica are not Andrew Holness's doing. They are not. He did not cause the cancer. He's trying to correct the patient that is cancerous. And if he didn't, Dr. Holness was not administering the proper prescriptions on the patient in Jamaica, would have dead long time. Or we would have half dead. The cancer would have nyam out the whole away. And we would be heading down this road of Haiti. Holness is the doctor that has taken on an ill patient and is restoring that patient to some saneness. Those are the facts, you know. Those are the facts. And they're not disputed. They can't be disputed. Sorry, I can't take any calls tonight, okay? Can't take any calls, caller. Can't take any calls. Please. And I don't like this attack. And I think it is unfair. And I think that we are going to have to do more to remove the scales of the eyes of the Jamaican people so that they know. But part of the problem, you see, is that Jamaican people are just so partisan. The frustration with progress is real. There is frustration in Jamaica. I understand that. Yes, there is frustration when the roads are bad. There is frustration when you can't get things done. There is frustration. There's real. But the frustration is misdirected. And the pain people of mad against. Is it pain? What Jamaicans should be looking back and say, you guys, you cause our problems today. To judge the Prime Minister as a failure without studying the context of the collapse he inherited, is philosophically unfair. Because Jamaica moved from being on the menu of global crisis in 1970s, the menu of global crisis in the 1990s, to the table of self-directed decisions. And that transition is not a miracle. That's management. That's statesmanship. That's research. That is someone who has studied Jamaica's problem and is prepared to fix it. So if you are going to be fair judgment demands context before condemnation. Context before condemnation. Because in every household, there is an unwritten rule. You don't curse the cook for a burnt kitchen he didn't burn. You don't do that. Yet in Jamaica, Jamaicans break that rule daily. We see slow progress. We see high cost of living. We see crime situations. We ask, what has Holness done? It's not Mr. Holness that make the health sector in the state it is. Holness didn't bring crime to Jamaica. Holness didn't bring bad roads and all the ills of the society. Not to mention the social malaise of the society. You think that can be fixed in 10 years? Huh? Let me tell you something. In behavior modification, you see they have what is called conditioning, and you have what they call classical. In other words, people learn how to behave, and it is very hard to unlearn a behavior. Once you learn how to behave a particular way, you don't unlearn it. And what Holness is doing, I think probably one of the greatest challenges, how do you get Jamaicans to unlearn their behavior? You expect the Prime Minister to just flick a finger and say, "Oh, no, behave on yourself"? No, because that is how Jamaicans have been trained to behave. Jamaicans have been trained to behave outside of law, outside of order. The rule of law in Jamaica is not well respected, and that's a learned behavior. It's not that the Jamaican people are bad, It's not the Jamaican people are evil. It's that the Jamaican people learned that this is the mode of operate on, the modus operandi, and therefore it becomes a part of their very nature. And he's to fix that in 10 years? Go with that. That's orange thinking. Yes. It's a valid question to ask, what has Holness done? It's a valid question, but it is not framed well. The deeper question is, what did Holness inherit? What has he inherited? Because leadership is not judged in a vacuum. It is judged in context. A doctor is not blamed for the cancer the previous doctor missed. You can't blame your new doctor because your old doctor mess up your fibroids problem. You can't blame your new doctor because he never fixed out say you had cancer in your breast. You can't blame the new doctor for that. Holness has been blamed for the cancer PJ caused. And Manley and Portia. Blame them. PJ is still alive. Why not hold him accountable? Why not ask why did PJ leave us like this? Huh? That's why they say, you don't pick up a relationship until you have healed, because you'll blame the new man. All your problems, the new man have to take it about the new woman. You can't blame them for that. Brethren, a fireman is not called a failure because the house was already burning when he arrived. The Jamaica was on fire when Holness come. So you're gonna blame him for starting the fire. The place was a burn. The man was trying to put out the fire. Yes. And so I want to engage in a discussion because I think that until our citizens are able to make that judgment, until we are able to make that judgment, I don't think that we're going to do well at all. We have to move beyond the mundane stuff. We are going to waste our anger on the wrong target. And we're going to repeat the psychology of collapse, right? The 1974 to 1997. This was Jamaica's as a consumer of crisis, not creators of solutions. The 1970s oil shock, the political polarization, the 1976 state of emergency. Those things killed investor confidence. The 1990 financial liberalization, the weak regulation which led to FinSAC. Yes, $220 billion in today's when you calculate that to inflation. By 2016, the debt to GDP was 125%, the highest in the world. More budget money went to interest than health. More money went to interest than education. Combined, Jamaica was really on the menu. We never made any decisions. The IMF made them for them. Who created that crisis? It wasn't that Mr. Holness. Right? But guess what? There's what you call the availability bias. And under the availability bias, you blame whoever is visible now. And Holness is visible. So he gets the curse. He gets the curse of the sins of the 1976 and the 1997. He's available. And then you have the expectation gap because global media shows up Dubai and Singapore, and our brain ignores that they had no FinSAC. They had no 40-year debt trap. We demand microwave result for oven problems. Expectation gap. The expectations of Jamaica have risen. But guess what? It can't just be fixed like that. And then you have trauma memory. The 1970s and 1990s taught Jamaicans that governments must fix everything fast or it failed. Patients died. So 8 years, 9 years, 10 years feels like eternity, even though nation building takes generation. The lesson here, you see, is that anger at slow progress is human. But anger at the wrong steward is wasteful. It keeps us psychologically stuck on the menu. Jamaica, if we are to progress, if we are to move forward, we have to judge our present in context of where we are coming from, and judge our leader. The man who is leading us needs to be judged in the context of where we are coming from. And we are not coming from a good place. Right? Mr. Holness inherited a burnt kitchen. Mr. Holness inherited a burnt kitchen. He did not burn up the food. When he came to the kitchen, the food burned up already. So what he is serving you is the best he can do at this time, until he fixed the kitchen and put better things before you on the plate. Stewardship means taking responsibility for what you did not break. It's not Holness that broke it. It's PJ broke it. It's Manley broke it. It's Portia broke it. Holness not broke nothing. Holness is repairing the breach, fixing the broken vessel. And Jamaicans must understand that. The kitchen was burnt when he came here. 125% debt to GDP. Jamaica was borrowing to pay interest. You cannot build schools when 60% of your revenue goes to service debt. Debt fire, institutional fire, trust fire, shock fire. Yes? You have to measure the context. 2016, Jamaica's fiscal space was 1% of GDP. So what you have to do is to first of all stop the bleeding. Then you have to set the bone. A man rolls in a broken foot man in the hospital. Just had an accident. His foot broke up. What do you think the doctor must do first? Now stop the bleeding. Make sure say him stop lose blood. Then you set the bone. Then you rebuild the muscle. That's what debt reduction, fiscal rules, and institutional reform are. Boring, slow, but permanent. The multiplier effect works both ways. Collapse multiplied pain across generations. Management multiplies gain across generations. Holness work on debt, tax, compliance, and fiscal discipline is management. And it won't trend on TikTok. But it is what moves a nation from the menu to the table. What is trending on TikTok is Marvin and the nonsense that he's going on over there with. That don't create jobs for the country. That is not a viral moment. That's the odious, slow work of management. It demands context. Ladies and gentlemen, it demands context, but it also demands communication. And I'm going to end here and go to give my callers a chance to speak their mind. A leader cannot assume citizens understand burnt kitchen theory. The government's failure has been silence, not policy. This government has the best policy ever in this country. But when citizens don't hear the context, propaganda fills the gap. And we are going to have to launch a massive campaign against misinformation in this country. We're going to help our people with civic literacy. People have to know. And this program is committed to doing that. The PNP's obstruction and selective memory then becomes the only story. They don't have a story. They must not set the narrative. Their past has led Jamaica to where it is today. They are to be blamed. We have to piggyback on them. Not us. We are not the problem here. We didn't cause this. Don't blame us. Oh, Miss Jess, you stand up in Parliament. I hear this. You listen to the sectoral debate. You listen to the sectoral debate, and you listen to the PNP members of Parliament behaving like if you say they are the answers to the problems when they were the cause of the problem. My goodness, man, I couldn't sit down and listen to that. I would have to pick up my things and come out. The audacity. Selective memory. Anyway, before I close, the government has a repair duty to do. And here is how it is to be done. One, you have to name the soil. Start every major speech with, "This is what we inherited." Do it now, my friends from the party. Take my advice. Start every major speech with, "This is what we inherited." Show the 70s. Show the 90s. Repeat it until citizens internalize it. Name the soil. That's what Keir Starmer is doing in the United Kingdom. Every time the Conservative point to something, he says, "Remember, can't take any calls, guys, please. Don't make sense your call. I can't take it." You have to show the soil. And we're talking about the burnt kitchen here. We're talking about the burnt kitchen. Show the soil. Show the recipe. You have to link every project to context. This road took years because debt service took 60 years of budget for the first 4 years. And I have what is called the 5P scorecard, which is prosperity, peace, performance, pride, and preparedness. Jamaica is not failing. Jamaica is recovering. From the menu to the table is not a slogan, it's a historical fact. To call Holness a failure is to erase the difference between 125% debt and 70% debt. It is to erase the difference between IMF programs and fiscal surplus. It is to erase the difference between being decided for and deciding for ourselves. Philosophy demands fairness. Fairness says, judge the cook by the kitchen he inherited, not by the mansion you wish existed. Judge him by whether the fire is out, the foundation is stronger, and the family is safer than before. So Jamaica, before we condemn, let us study the context. And because we are failing to study the context, then our conclusions are wrong. Because we curse the cook, but we're not examining the kitchen. Because a nation that judges without context is doomed to repeat its collapse. A nation that judges with context is free to build beyond. The scales have to be removed from the Jamaican people's eyes. And you remove it by teaching people how to see. Right now, Jamaicans aren't blind. They are looking through dirty lens. And not blind the people blind, but the lens them dirty. And there are 3 dirty lenses that them looking through. 1 is that there is no civic literacy. 2, there is no data. And 3, tribal identity. So to fix the problem is not to defend the Prime Minister. It is to teach Jamaicans how to judge a leader fairly. Once they learn that skill, the Labour Party wins 50 seats. Once Jamaicans are taken out of the dark, given the context, they begin to see Holness in a different light. He wins 50 seats. Because most Jamaicans never learn how to judge a prime minister. In school, students are taught CXC, social studies, not stewardship. So people judge by vibes, not by context, not by data. People are judging based on how they feel. There is a under-education in the society, information poverty. The information in Jamaica creates its own poverty. Many can't read budget charts. They don't know anything about debt ratio, 10-year trends. If you can't read the scoreboard, you judge by the noise. That's why Marvin is getting any traction. It's noise. It's an under-education. It's an information poverty. And then when you put the tribal politics in that, PNP versus JLP is identity, not policy. One man wears green, 40% won't listen to him. One man wears orange, 40% won't listen. Facts bounce off identity armor. So as Scratchy would say here, you don't try to win over the comrades. They won't listen to you. Right? And that is part of the challenge. But can it be done? Absolutely. Absolutely. Moderator, I know I've gone over time, 23 to 9, and my listeners may be waiting there. Let me see who is there. I'll get back to this tomorrow. Judging leadership in the context of collapse, Holness to the rescue. We have a man rescuing Jamaica from a burnt down kitchen. That's what is happening here. Let's tell our listeners that tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Natalie will be here with us. Natalie from JPU will be on the program live at 7 p.m. tomorrow. You can't afford to miss that. That's Natalie from the Jamaica, from JPU. She will be here with us tomorrow, 7 o'clock. You want to stay tuned for that. If you're on X, want to welcome you. If you're on Patreon, want to welcome you. If you're on any one of the platforms, welcome. Please remember to like the program and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And tell your neighbor that we are here Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And of course, if you are wanting to support us, we have a Zelle account 954-635-8732. That's 954-635-8732. We'll be happy if you could send us your contribution to continue the work that we do here. Thank you so much. And we're going to go to the callers now to hear what they have to say. It's time for them to talk their minds. The first person is Horatio Nelson. Good evening to you, sir.
Evening, neighbor. Evening, Miss Caroline.
Good night. Good
hope I greet you well, neighbor.
Greetings to you.
I hope I greet you. Yeah. Neighbor, I sit and listen to you,
no, you just
your neighbors note bring back so many. It brings tears to my eye. Believe me.
Oh my! I made you cry, sir.
Yes, neighbor.
Oh God.
When you live the reality of what you are talking, yes, neighbor. When you live the reality of what you said is in the neighbor's note, neighbor. I wonder and think like the people that spreading the misinformation each and every day in the length and breadth of Jamaica, if they remember where we are coming from as a nation, neighbor. Again, the story of Jamaica need to be told, neighbor.
Yes.
It need to be told because when I listen to Mr. Shaw and what Mr. Shaw said in that budget presentation in 2014, neighbor, it was spot on facts. Everything he was talking about, neighbor. Neighbor, Jamaica, the Jamaica that we lived in, neighbor. We were coming to a stage where the government run out of idea where they're gonna sell the citizen of Jamaica or sell Jamaica with the citizen in it. Neighbor,
Yes.
the Jamaica that Andrew Holness inherited.
Yes, sir, and that is the point I want to make, that we need to look, we need to look at what he got before we judge him for what is happening. We need to look at what Holness inherited.
What he got, neighbor, when inherited, neighbor, because whenever you hear the PMP make a presentation in Parliament, or whenever you hear them on a social media page, you wonder if the country that Mr. Holness got was a country that was sailing on to a first world country.
Yes, sir.
If it was a country was about to collapse.
Yes.
Neighbor, the country that Mr. When you live the reality of your note, neighbor, the only thing could have come from a high neighbor. When I remember where I'm coming from as a child, neighbor, only thing I've come to my eyes is tears, neighbor.
Yes.
Because I grew up with a mother where I have 7 kids and she have to choose which to go to school each day.
Oh my goodness.
That's the country that Mr. Holness inherited.
Yes, sir. A country riddled by corruption and crime and poverty, sir.
Neighbor, I tell neighbor, I'm not say this, neighbor, because you're talking, neighbor. And if I hear the emotion in my voice, neighbor, the country that Mr. Holness inherited from the People's National Party, neighbor.
Yes.
A mother have 7 child have to make up her mind which tree go into Coronation Market to push the cat and which tree go to school.
Yes. You're correct, sir. You are.
Neighbor, the country that Mr. Holness inherited, neighbor. When you leave school, you don't know what is the next move.
Yes.
Because neighbor, the address that you have couldn't get you a job. You have to go some permanent high school to get a job at that time. I know some people in some high places, neighbor, they can't subject to go to school really at that time, neighbor, because there was no opportunity for the people that come out of school at that time, neighbor.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am happy.
The country that I can say this, neighbor. I hear you saying a note that God listened to the people of Jamaica. And I always say this, neighbor, and I repeat it again. When Peter Bunting went on that platform and he asked for divine intervention, neighbor, the Lord in heaven sit on the throne and he hears, neighbor.
Oh.
And he searched the heart of man in the Parliament of Jamaica, neighbor. He searched the heart of man, neighbor.
Yes.
And neighbor, I said this before I finished what I'm saying. Whatever God do in this earth,
yes.
When you read the Bible, neighbor, whatever God do in this earth, he never do it without a man, without one a man or send a man to do it, neighbor.
Yes.
And I say this to say, neighbor, when Peter Bunting went on the platform, neighbor, they asked for divine intervention. The good Lord went in the House of Parliament and he searched the heart of man. Neighbor, he searched the heart of man in the neighbor.
Oh.
And he speak to the heart of Bruce Goldie, neighbor. He speak to the heart of the then Prime Minister Bruce Goldie, neighbor.
Yes.
Neighbor, what Mr. Holness inherited in this country was a country, neighbor, 15 years ago, nobody want to be Jamaican.
Yes.
20 years ago, nobody want to be Jamaican, neighbor.
Yes.
Because when you travel, neighbor, people know us as the borrowers and beggars and the scammers and the murderers. That people know we as, neighbor.
Very, very true, sir.
Nobody never want to be Jamaican at that time. Neighbor, when you see the police officer at that time, we call them Babylon and Squaddy and one suit.
Yes.
Neighbor, at that time, neighbor, when have to interact with the dancing community. If they want to go in certain part in the community, you have to call the dance, neighbor.
Yes.
You have to call it down. If you go to the police station, they say, oh, go on back down and tell the dancer because the police can't deal with it. That's the country that Andrew Holness inherited, neighbor. A country that when we have to go to the shop, neighbor, we couldn't afford to go to supermarket.
Yes.
How many supermarket was in Jamaica at that time, neighbor? Because Jamaican people couldn't just afford it. We have to afford to go to the corner shop and in the community, neighbor, to buy a slice of bread.
That's what I hear, sir. A slice of bread and one egg and a two.
Neighbor, your notes bring back so much emotion inside of me, neighbor, because, neighbor, when you live the experience and you see where you are today, you have to say, if Jamaican people ever think one time in their head to put back the People's National Party to run this country, I tell you, neighbor, what the PMP left, the legacy that they left, neighbor, is not nothing good to talk about, and that's all the while me say Jamaica.
May I make a point to you, Horatio?
Yes, neighbor.
Eddie Siaga inherited the same thing in 1980, you know, sir. Even worse, you know.
Correct.
When Eddie Siaga came to power, no food in Jamaica, you know. There was no food on the shelves in Jamaica. Okay? So, both Eddie Siaga and Andrew Holness have inherited a broke cupboard. And I beg Jamaican people, don't be unfair to them. They did not set the house on fire. They came with the hose. It's put Holness and put out fire in Jamaica, sir. All right? Go ahead.
Neighbor, the amount of fire that is in Jamaica, neighbor, are the Prime Minister inherited at that time to put out, neighbor. 1 and 2 term cannot out it, neighbor.
And the people of Jamaica need to understand that, Horatio. The people have to understand, because they have expectations. They want things to move at pace. But my argument is that the government have to use the means of communication to get the people to understand the context. Because I don't think they do. They don't. And I believe if the government is able to do that, Holness is going to win a fourth term in a landslide.
Neighbor, thank you, neighbor. In those time, neighbor, when you go to your MP office, neighbor, you have to make an appointment to see him, neighbor.
Yes.
Because the people of the constituency depend on the MP only and slowly, neighbor, to put on them daily.
Mr. Shaw made that point, but we didn't have the time to play it all.
The people of the constituency, if you live in a constituency in Jamaica at that time, neighbor, you have to depend on the MP, the member of parliament, daily to put on your pot and fire, neighbor. And this is a live reality, me I tell you about, neighbor. Because there was no opportunity there for your mother to go out or your father to go out, neighbor. And neighbor, that's the reason why. And that.
Guys, I can't take any calls on the line, okay? I can't take any calls, please. You have to join us through the TikTok process tonight. Okay, those of you who are trying to call, that line is down. We can't take that, okay? So you have to join us on the TikTok platform. Sorry about that. All right, go ahead, sir.
Neighbor, as we said, at that time, neighbor, that is so much. That's the reason why so much we grow without a father, neighbor. Because guess what? We mother poor, we father poor. So we have to run. We can in one foreign country or in our foreign land to try to get help, neighbor. And by the time you know it, he meet up with a woman who change his mind and forgot him picking them back at all.
That's the cost of collapse. That's the cost of collapse, sir. When I walk about Jamaica, hold on. When I walk about Jamaica, sir, and I see my brothers and sisters, and I said to myself, you know that these people are performing below their potential, sir. That's the cost of collapse, sir. The informal economy, the state of Jamaica that is being corrected now, not caused by this government.
Not caused by
listen a little bit. Listen to this. Listen a little bit to Mr. Shaw and go. And
you've never met a growth target that you have set.
Mr. Shaw,
$10 now. Deal with it now. Omar denied that it was $20 billion. Well, it then became $120 billion. Mr. Davis, you have a lot to answer for.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Davis, you have a lot to answer for. Mr. Shaw, tell him that. That is who Jamaicans need to be asking. Mr. Davis is alive. Omar Davis is alive. Why aren't we asking Omar Davis the questions? Why are we asking Andrew? Andrew Holness not cause this problem. Mr. Shaw is absent. is absolutely correct. Listen to him again.
And the crash, the collapse, was the gross, is the tremendous cost of trying to recover, given the mistakes and the actions of several persons. It amounted to 40% of GDP. Very few countries have been able to take on such a burden and come back the way we have. We now have a stronger financial sector, and we now have a situation where there, by and large, there has been recovery. Thank you, Dr. David.
And listen to Omar. He was a smooth talker. He's alive. Jamaicans need to ask him some questions and leave Andrew Holness alone. Is Omar, you must ask the questions. Andrew Holness will cause no problem. Hold on for me, sir, please.
Mr. Shaw.
Hold on.
The real pain of the financial sector adjustment and the crash, the collapse, was the gross and absolute mismanagement of the People's National Party. And when Omar became the Minister of Finance, because the problem actually started before him under his predecessors, when money supply started to go through the roof. But when he was the minister and the interest rates continued to remain high, Eddie Siaga told him in the House in my presence, the problem is $20 billion now. Deal with it now. Omar denied that it was $20 billion. Well, it then became $120 billion. Mr. Davis, you have a lot to answer for. Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
That's you have a lot to answer for, Omar. Yes, and yet still the people in Jamaica, they're not asking Mr. Davis a question. Context, guys. Judging leadership in the context of collapse, not wholeness. Wholeness is rebuilding from collapse. Don't blame Holness. Holness is your savior, not the man to be blamed. And I want the Jamaica Labour Party, to make this point when they talk. Stop allowing the PNP to set the narrative. PNP not supposed to set no narrative in Jamaica. They don't have no credibility. They don't. Not this batch. Right? Tell them where they were taking the country from. Listen a little bit more to the debate because it's fascinating.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the features of this debate is that at this point, each of the party representatives has the opportunity to ask the other a single question. And Mr. Shaw, you have the first question to put to Dr. Davies. Mr. Davis, after many years of missed targets, you've never met a growth target that you have set. You have never met a fiscal deficit target that you have set. There has been a point where this country has now is being described by the United States State Department as a kleptocracy. That is the preservation of...
Hold on. The United States State Department said Jamaica was a kleptocracy. You know what kleptocracy is about? Mr. Twait told you also, know, the greatest transfer of resources from the poor, a thief in that, kleptocracy. The United States saw Jamaica as a kleptocracy. What a shame. What a shame. All of you comrades online, but who are blogging, who should lock down on the page, who should come off the ear. Come off the ear. I'll be Mr. Ralston Hyman down at GR. Come off the ear, Mr. Hyman. What you don't get talked about? Down at GR. Right? Jamaica was a kleptocracy. When you listen to the PNP bloggers, what is their reality? It's a different country that they're living in than us, than the rest of us. My God, a kleptocracy. Listen again to Shaw.
Question to put to Dr. Davies. Mr. Davis, after many years of missed targets, you've never met a growth target that you have set. You have never met a fiscal deficit target that you have set. There has been a point where this country has now is being described by the United States State Department as a kleptocracy. That is the preservation of public officials, enriching them and keeping them in political power. Mr.
You hear that? You hear that, guys? Oh, God Almighty! Huh? That is the state of affairs that the PNP ran, and they stand up in Parliament blaming this government. Well, so help me God, this have to change, you know. Labour Party have to change. You can't just govern. You have to push back against these guys. When they feel as if to say they have anything against you, they don't. The PNP can't win any debate. They don't have no argument to make.
Mr. Minister, with all the poverty around us, why should the Jamaican people believe anything that you tell us now?
Don't want to hear his answer. Don't want to hear his answer. Hold on, Honeybee. Hold on, Honeybee. Go ahead, Evangelist Young. Evangelist Young.
Good night. What are you doing?
Rolling.
Yes, I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings to the beautiful Caroline. And
no. Just say good evening. Just say good evening, everyone. Good evening, Caroline. Leave all the adjectives.
She is beautiful, so of course, yeah, that's a compliment she deserves.
I see.
Yeah. Yes, and what I would like to say tonight, based on what I've observed, I remember when Mr. Holness was running for the election that is I think it was in 2026 when Bruce Golding there resigned, right? And after the election was held, because I realized that the people said that they want to give Sister P a chance. So right there and then, after Mr. Holness hold the election, which he had time, he could have used the time there to build, to let the Jamaican people get to know him a little more. He was a new what I would say prime minister, and he had no, in terms of legacy of anything that he had built that Jamaicans had recognized during that time.
Yes.
And what I have noticed was that he came in with a lot of ideas, because I was listening to him, but he was not given a chance to bring what he had in mind into reality. And so they allowed Sister P to do her time. And I remember on one of his platforms, he said that
to the Jamaican.
when he was campaigning, he said, Jamaica, I think it was in Montego Bay. You remember when they had that shootout at
yes.
his rally in
By the way,
Montego
thank you so much, Jamling. Thank you, Jamling. Thank you so much. Thanks, Caroline. Go ahead, sir.
Right, and he said that Jamaican people, I hear him make some very powerful statements. I said, Jamaican people, I just want you to give me a chance. And Jamaica people did give him a chance. And once he got the chance, you know that he had a lot to prove back then.
Yes.
Because Jamaica people needed to know what is it that he is going to bring to the table. And the man brought something that Jamaica, that make even IMF. Because when Jamaica borrowed from the IMF, you know the demands they laid on us. The demands that they laid on us wasn't supposed to be for Jamaica, It was supposed to be for the poorer countries like in Africa and those countries.
Yes.
The demand that the IMF have imposed on us was supposed to be for those countries. But because the People's National Party have run the country to do you know that the People's National Party almost destroyed our economy? They almost destroyed our economy. And that is the reason why the IMF, when Jamaica was going back to the IMF, they imposed things on us, demands on us that we should do before the monies could be approved. That's why they had us to do it in phases. You notice they didn't approve all of the money that Jamaica wanted to borrow all at once.
Yes.
They approved it bit by bit, because what Jamaica was experiencing, Jamaica was experiencing high debt, and what the government of the day was trying to do, they were trying to like tax the person, tax the Jamaican people, and this is what the economy wasn't growing. I remember the Jamaica gleaner back then made I can't forget that post when Omar Davis said that the economy grew by 3%, and I saw them draw a cartoon character in the gleaner. And says where the person using the little what the thing name again, the little test glass thing.
Yes.
Looking for the 3%, looking for the 3% growth.
Yeah.
That Omar Davis said the company was growing, and the funniest part of it was that the cartoonist answered, where? He said, look, it's there. But when Mr. Holness come in, and when he start exercise fiscal discipline, because what was causing the company, the country not to grow, is the lack of fiscal discipline.
Yes.
And in terms of they make plans. They make unrealistic plans, right? And they don't put things into place as to how they were going to execute those plans. That's what the People's National Party used to do. And as a result of that, we find out that many of the promises that they made on their campaign trail was not fulfilled. And so what you find out is that a lot of persons, this is the reason why we have so much low voters turned out when it comes to the election, because persons have begun to give up on Jamaica because of the years of the PNP regime.
Yes.
Because what had happened under their regime is that they made promises and they were unable to fulfill it. Why? Because of their policies. Right?
Yes.
Their policies and their heavy bureaucracy and all of those things that prevent them from execute certain plans. Do you remember when Mr. Holness took over office there with the money that they got as a loan from the Chinese, right? To build up the Ugly Park Road there to Halfway Tree. And it was there for many years, not being used. And what had happened was that the Chinese threatened to take back that money from us unless they use it. And Mr. Holness, when Mr. Holness won the election, he had was to use up that money very quickly. And if you ever see 3 miles now, or 3 miles, nice.
Yeah.
You understand the traffic? I know you still have the Portmore traffic in the evening that give us a little problem. But the bottom line is that Hagley Park Road, when rain fall, you don't have this whole lot of water on it anymore. You have proper drain that was built under the Andrew-led administration, and you hear them saying that it was in the pipeline. The People's National Party say it was in the pipeline.
Hold on there for me, Evangelist Young. Want to remind my listeners that Cardinal Logistics and Sales, they offer consolidation, warehousing, sea freight, door-to-door, air freight, door-to-door customs clearance, fast, reliable shipping solutions. Call for a free quote today. That's Cardinal Logistics and Sales. You can get them at 954-701-5958. That's 954-701-5958 or 954-533-3637. Cardinal Logistics and Sales for fast, reliable shipping solutions. Call for a free quote today. The numbers again, 954-701-5958 and the 954-533-3637. Cardinal Logistics and Sales All you need to ship out of the United States into Jamaica or for Jamaica to the US. Please call Cardinal today. Go ahead, Evangelist.
Yes, I say all of that. All that I'm saying is that the People's National Party, I hear people when they were on, I'm not being biased here when I'm talking. I hear people who were strong opposition supporters, they were strong PNP supporters. When the People's National Party was in power, they said they don't want to stay in Jamaica because nothing is in Jamaica for them. Right? And we have a lot of persons back then under their regime that run off, they went and farm work and they run off and they said that it's better than looking because nothing is not going on in Jamaica. And what we have seen since Mr. Holness take over is that people are now considering, can you imagine, to come back to Jamaica, to live, to build, to have their businesses. I remember trying to start a business under the People's National Party's regime, and let me tell you something. I started, and I have to stop many times because, let me tell you this, they made Jamaica so business unfriendly, and the level of unemployment was so high that you had back then more sellers than buyers. So when you're doing your liquor selling, you say you're doing your liquor selling, sometimes you come back, nothing don't sell because of the amount of sellers that you have on the road. Nowadays, you have more people working, and so it's easier for a man to make money. Let me tell you something. This morning, when I went on the road, I had little or no money. And you see, by the time I am to call out 2 times, I spend about 3 hours on the road. And let me tell you something. What I come home with, I said, I then look back and said, oh, people said money is not in Jamaica. Look at the little time. I even made more than what I would make from my job today on the road.
Wow.
1 day alone.
Wow.
Under the People's National Party regime, this wasn't possible. Because even the UNCAD people, them tax. Well, I remember under the People's National Party regime, I'm walking on Princess Street. I just went and bought some goods. And because I have the goods in my hand, I'm about to put it in my bag. I only see somebody just grab on to the goods. Grab on to the goods. When I look, it was one of those metro people. I putting away my goods, I just buy it out of the store and putting it away. And they thought that I was selling on Princess Street. Grab on to my goods, ready to confiscate it. I have to show them my security ID, and that's how they let go of my goods. That's what we endured under the People's National Party regime. So I'm saying that listen, the party that I see, and it's not because I prefer the Jamaica Labour Party over the People's National Party right now why I'm saying this. I am saying that the party that I see building up Jamaica is the Jamaica Labour Party. The party that I see want to see young people coming out of poverty is the Jamaica Labour Party. The party that have the vision right now is the Jamaica Labour Party. Because let me tell you something, I never dreamed that I could have become a successful small business owner here in Jamaica because I have tried it. I have tried it many times. And I have to stop. Because what? I wasn't getting any sales. Nobody wasn't working. When I look at how the poverty rate has significantly gone down, I'm just making a last statement on this, giving somebody else a chance. When I look at how the poverty rate was high under the People's National Party and how it come down, it is because more people are working now. Why my small business can survive? Today, thanks be to the strong policies of the Jamaica Labour Party, which says, give the person skills, and then after they learn the skills, you give them a job. You give them job. Under the People's National Party regime, people graduate from skill training institution with their big certificate and can't find a job. I am a trained chef by heart, NTA. And when I graduated from heart, I couldn't find any job in the hotel in the hotel industry. And if I even do find a job, what they were offering for salary could not cover what I have sacrificed for my training. So they want to pay me just like how they would pay a man they would pick up on the street. Can you imagine you have your certificate, your chef certificate, and they want to pay you just as how like a man who have no professional training, they want to pay like that. That was what I have endured under the People's National Party. And I just want us to stop bashing the government and stop spreading all these lies about the government. Because let me tell you something, when I hear people saying that the government corrupt, and up until now they can't produce evidence of corruption and what he thief from what he doesn't thief, I have to wonder if these people really understand what thieving is and what corruption is, why they are using those words so out of context, so loosely.
Yeah.
So
gotta leave it there.
This is just what I have to say for now.
Well, thank you so much.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah,
you're
great.
welcome.
Okay, Jamlink. Well, Jamlink can help you. Pick up and consolidation from Florida to Jamaica. Do you want something to be picked up from Florida and dropped in Jamaica? Well, Jamlink, Jamaica link. What a link caused by Jamlink. 954-292-5695. 954-292-5695. Jamlink. All you need to move from Florida to Jamaica, Jamlink will do it for you. All right, let's listen a little bit to Mr. Shaw and Dr. Davis.
Public. How the commitments made by you and your leader, Mr. Golding, how will they be funded? Is there a massive tax package, or what? Are you going to beg the money, or are you going to borrow?
Omar, let me say this to you, and it means that I'll have to repeat myself. But I fully understand your unfamiliarity with how you can make that shift, which is a sort of an old socialist type mentality, that you want to distribute what you don't create. And to distribute, sir, to create wealth, you've got to put the people to work. When you put the people to work, here is the scenario. You promote investment, you get growth, it creates jobs, people pay taxes, and from the additional increments of taxation, you're able to spend the money, sir. That's how it's done. Now, I've tried to explain that to you, and I've explained in relation to the tuition and in relation to health, the immediate plan of how to deal with that. I've told you in the medium term how we're going to deal with educational transformation and the development of rural communities. I've explained all of that. You don't understand it. You have slipped and slid so much that over the past 6 months, your people in New York, Standard & Poor's and Bear Stearns, have downgraded Jamaica. And it means that because of that downgrade, you're going to have to start borrowing money at higher rates of interest now. So, Mr. Davis, we've got to move now to how we can create wealth for the people of Jamaica, not alleviate poverty, which has been your policy, and it can't work.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Well, there you have it. There you have Mr. Shaw. Totally devastating Dr. Davis in that debate. Putting him aside, he's a socialist. They don't know how to create wealth. What Holness and his government is doing is showing the PNP how you run the market economy. They are socialists. They only know how to distribute. PNP have not studied the new world order, the new economy. How do you move people into prosperity? Not trickle-down economics. Creating wealth for people. They don't understand it. Right? They don't understand it at all. All right? I think let's listen a little bit more to Audley.
We now go to the final phase of this evening, which is that each of the debaters has an opportunity to make a closing statement of 2 minutes. Mr. Shaw, you go first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you. I want to thank the panelists and the minister for engaging me today, and the people of Jamaica for watching this debate. It is important. You know, many years ago when the ship Titanic crashed and many people went to their watery grave, the first mate warned the captain. He said, "Captain, there's an iceberg ahead." And the captain said, "Not changing course, first mate, full speed ahead." Well, the ship of state of Jamaica must change course. It has to change course because there has to be a better way. There has to be a better life for our people. We've got to offer hope to our young people who many of them are dispossessed. They are bewildered. They are unhappy. There's too much crime. There's too much unemployment and too much hopelessness in Jamaica. Our mission has to be to build a society in which our people are well trained to meet the challenges of this century, are gainfully employed, earn a decent standard of living, and can enjoy justice, peace, and prosperity in a clean, safe, and healthy environment. That's what they get when they go abroad. Why can't we provide that for them here? I believe that the Jamaica Labour Party can provide that leadership. Bruce Golding has shown the vision. We are showing a better way. We are going to change course. Jamaica has to change course. We can't afford you, Mr. Davis. We can't afford you, most honorable Prime Minister. We can't afford the PNP anymore. It is time for a change, and I'm looking forward to working with the people of Jamaica to create a better life.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Dr. Davis, your final 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Well, Jamaica did change course. Jamaica did change course. Boy, PNP mash up Jamaica. Boy, I tell you, what a shame. Anyway, we couldn't afford the PNP anymore. That's classic from Mr. Shaw. I want to play it again. I want to play it again before I go to Hollywood. Yes? Hi.
Just before you play it again, just want to remind our listeners on TikTok, YouTube, X, that tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., we will have a live collaboration with Natalie from Jamaica Politics Uncovered, live on the show and all our platforms at 7 p.m. And we ask that you all join us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's great. All right. So, judging leadership in the context of collapse, Jamaica was in a bad state in the 2016, in 2007. Yeah. And here is Mr. Shaw giving it to Dr. Davis.
Thank you. I want to thank the panelists and the minister for engaging me today, and the people of Jamaica for watching this debate. It is important. You know, many years ago.
By the way, I must tell you this. Maybe one of these nights I will tell you about Audley Shaw. Audley Shaw is one of those amazing labor right, Audley Fitzalbert Shaw. Audley Shaw is likely responsible for the Jamaica Labour Party where it is today. And it's really a pity that Mr. Shaw lost his voice, took ill, and had to leave the politics earlier than he did. He was a fantastic, great Jamaican Labour Party supporter. Anywhere you are tonight, Mr. Shaw, big up yourself. You are you really worked hard for the Jamaica Labour Party. Listen to him.
The ship Titanic crashed, and many people went to their watery grave. The first mate warned the captain. He said, "Captain, there's an iceberg ahead." And the captain said, "Not changing course, first mate, full speed ahead." Well, the ship of state of Jamaica must change course. It has to change course because there has to be a better way. There has to be a better life for our people. We've got to offer hope to our young people who are, many of them are dispossessed. They are bewildered. They are unhappy. There's too much crime. There's too much unemployment and too much hopelessness in Jamaica. Our mission has to be to build a society in which our people are well trained to meet the challenges of this century, are gainfully employed, earn a decent standard of living, and can enjoy justice, peace, and prosperity in a clean, safe, and healthy environment. That's what they get when they go abroad. Why can't we provide that for them here? I believe that the Jamaica Labour Party can provide that leadership. Bruce Golding has shown the vision. We are showing a better way. We are going to change course. Jamaica has to change course. We can't afford you, Mr. Davis. We can't afford you, most honorable Prime Minister. We can't afford the PNP anymore. It is time for a change, and I'm looking forward to working with the people of Jamaica to create a better life.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Dr. Davis, your final 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
Well, I do. Can't afford them. Can't afford them. That's what. That was fantastic. Honey B, good night. Hello.
Hello, good night, Neighbour.
Hi, how are you?
You know, I was listening to Alisha. Alisha always is one of my favorite member of parliament.
Uh-huh.
And I said to my daughter, I said, listen, because I was telling her and my two nieces, and even my son, I said, you know, when it was Siaga was the prime minister, I used to pay $5 for a pound of chicken.
Uh-huh.
My daughter said, Mommy, she take up the $5 and I said, Mommy, this? I said, yes, that's it. I used to pay that for a pound of chicken. She said, Mommy, so far we're coming from $5 to $400? I said, yes. And I said, I can remember how things went bad in the 90s. And I said to her, I don't know how my mother lived to her 80s day, but I cannot imagine how she did it. My mother, as a woman, she left one job in the morning. She left one job and go to a job in the night. She come home in, see that everybody get something to eat, and she's back out in the night.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, and yet still she could barely make it. That's how bad things were.
Yes.
And I keep saying, oh, you know what used to save us? We had an aunt in the US, and she used to send barrel. And that was a hard task to get those barrel, you know, when she send them, you know.
Yes.
And that used to help us, you know, neighbor. Without that help, you know, my mother, I don't know how, she probably would have died long before. Because things were so bad. So I have to ask the question. All these people that are out there now spreading these false narratives, they are not 20-year-olds, neighbor. They are not 20-year-olds. They are not 25-year-olds. They are older than that. So they at least experienced some of it. So I can't understand how blind they were. They didn't feel anything. When I hear them talking about a squeeze of toothpaste, neighbor, it is the truth. You know this. You know how national slice up the bread, right? That's how they get to sell a slice of bread.
Yes.
When they buy the bread, that's how they get to sell. When they have all those sliced bread, that's how they buy it at the shop, and you go and you buy a slice of bread. 1 egg, 1 frankfurter. See it all the time. I didn't know about the squeeze of toothpaste until I hear somebody. I said, what? She said, you buy a squeeze of toothpaste. And you didn't hear about the one about the fish back? Up till now, I don't know how that look. You heard about the one about the fish back?
Me?
I don't know how that look.
No, I don't.
If you heard about that one. Yes, Mr. Holness had brought it. It is one of his budget presentation in Parliament.
Fish back?
The fish back. Fish back. I don't know how that look, but I hear it's a thing.
Oh.
Now I see they bring in, there's also this thing where you sell just the tail of the fish, just a little flesh on it, and they sell just the tail.
No, hold on now. So fish back. I don't know that fish have back. How could you have fish back?
No, listen, it's the part of the fish. Okay. You see when they do the fish fillet?
Oh, the bone, the fish bone.
Yeah, a little flesh. They call that fish back, and people buy that.
Okay. Yes.
And
Well.
I was like, is that for sale?
It can make soup with it and so forth.
That's what I heard them use it to make fish tea. So I said, okay. And the end of the fish, people also steam it, or people use it to make fish tea.
Okay.
So people had to find ways to cope with the difficulty that they were facing.
Yes.
So sometimes you get a little cold water, neighbor.
Sorry, ma'am. Are you older than 60 years old?
No, I'm in my 50s.
Okay. All right.
And that is how I don't understand. If you are in your 40s, you experience some of what the 90s have to offer.
Yes.
So I don't understand how, for the life of me, people are acting. I wonder if all the comrades have amnesia or something. They're suffering from something, because how can you live through that and still with expect? And then for the life of me, remember, Mark Golding was an advisor to Amar Davis. He benefited from the FinSAC era, and you expect to give this man a chance after this man buy people houses for 10 cents on the dollar to come and run Jamaica? Oh, Mark Golding could not run DB&G after they stopped get the incentive from the government. They could not keep up. So when people say they are good with this man, I can't see that. The company that they have now called Proven, they have to close down 2 of their locations in 2 other Caribbean islands because they weren't making any money. At one point, they financial analysts said Proven lost over $60 million in, I think it was 2024, 2025.
Yes.
Right? And they were leaking money like how old car leak oil. They wasn't doing well. In Jamaica, I heard that the business do a little better here. This man also, the opposition leader, this man also, in his constituency, neighbor, a steers collapse.
Which man? Which man you talking about? Sorry, which man you talking about?
The opposition leader, in his constituency, a staircase collapse. Right? That's a staircase to take the people to the last floor.
Yes.
Right? That collapse. And they had to get I think it was a fire brigade went and get some of those people out. And he could not repair that stairs, but you could lend the Bahamian government money to build low-income housing.
I'm under a little bit of pressure. I have to go to Harry at 9:30. I had him lined up. So hold on. I don't know if you want to hold on, but I have to go over there. But I want to set the context again for my listeners. The whole matter of judging leadership in the context of collapse. So, you know, the fact of the matter is that there are many people in Jamaica judging Mr. Holness in the moment, and we're making the point that we have to contextualize where he got the country from. Mr. Holness has not caused the fire. He came with the fire hose. But before I go to Harry,
one more thing, neighbor.
No, before you.
I saw somebody put something in the comments earlier saying that on the PMP you used to get better medicine. Rubbish.
Oh.
Absolute rubbish.
Well.
Because before drug serve, you could not, when you take your child to the Bustamante Children's Hospital, you barely could get a little Amaxi, which is the cheapest antibiotic.
Yes.
You barely could get it. They tell you they don't have it. But when their friends come, they have it for them because a lot of corruption used to go in the health sector. So I don't know where you get that from.
Right.
I don't know where you get that from. We must live on another planet. You can go to Harry, neighbor. I'll be here.
Fantastic. Remember, Harry, I'm coming to you. But in 2007, Bruce Golding was running for Prime Minister. Listen to him as he outlined the problem that he was about to inherit. Labour Party Prime Ministers have really inherited fires, you know. Listen to Mr. Golding as he describes the problem he was about to take over in 2007. Mr. Golding.
Thank you very much. The People's National Party has been in power for the last 18 and a half years. During that period, with the exception of the first 2 years, Jamaica has never achieved as much as 3% growth in any 1 year. Over that period, we have accumulated 460,000 persons who either can't find work or have given up trying to find work. During that period, we have accumulated a debt that is now costing the people of Jamaica $550 million every single day to service, more than we spend on health, education, security, and all the other government services combined. Over that period, we have seen the murder rate climb from 413 in 1988 to as much as 1,500. And during that period, we have seen our schools continue to graduate young men and young women barely able to read and write, rendered unemployable.
You hear that? You hear that? That's what Golding was going to inherit. A nation with people unemployable. You know, guys.
That's what he inherited.
You know, guys. I beg you. Get your facts straight. Get your facts straight before. That is why they don't come up on this program, you know. I'm sure they're in the for you, they're listening, but they can't come up here because it is not disputable. You can't dispute facts. Facts are facts. Is either true or it was not. Siaga inherited a crisis. Golding inherited a crisis. Holness inherited a crisis. All Labour Party prime ministers have had to do a repair job for Jamaica. Okay? It is not that we are partisan. It is that we speak the truth. Mr. Golding, would you like to finish your comment, sir?
Jamaica can't continue to operate like this. We can do better than this. There are many countries that don't have our resources that are doing better than this. And therefore, we have outlined a framework of policies that are designed to move Jamaica out of this slump, designed to create an environment that is friendly to investment. If we are to get growth, we need investment, but not any kind of investment. We need investment that creates jobs. We want investment that generate revenue so that we can tackle the critical problems that the country faces. That is what the Jamaica Labour Party offers the people of Jamaica in this election.
Thank you so much, Mr. Golding. Would be nice to talk to you, you know, Mr. Golding. I realize you're going out elsewhere. Could stop by here one of these nights. It would be great to have you. Fantastic. Would lovely to talk to him. Member Harry, good night to you, sir.
Good night, neighbor. Good night, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing good, neighbor.
There's something on the screen. I didn't realize that you were there at all, man. You go from home to home. Some nights you are with Caroline, other nights you are with Shefreen. What a lucky man you are.
A proper service in neighbor.
Well, if you notice, I stay one place, kind of a one burner. I'm happy where I am.
Everything. It's an interesting topic tonight, neighbor.
Yes. What's your take on this?
Well, you know, the funny thing, the clip you played with Mr. Shaw, funny enough, I think that was when I was doing a paper in sociology at sixth form at the time. And it was looking at the socioeconomic issues and how they came about, right? And specifically, I doubled down on what was happening in Jamaica, you know, and I went the political route And many persons went and looked at, crime and the most obvious ones. But I
Yes.
looked at the overarching factor, which is those who managed the limited resources, which would have been the politicians. And it showed a damning figure of Jamaica, specifically that one stick of toothpaste neighbor, right? We moved, it even happened with soap because we had to do a level of research with it and produce our findings.
So there was a time.
And
There was a time when people in Jamaica never used to do this.
exactly.
In other words, it was introduced into the economy because of the strain, the poverty that was in the country. This one slice of bread. Because I never know of it, sir, when I was growing up. I mean, I used to hear about mangoes bread, but I never know about one slice of bread.
Yes, neighbor, right? And even at one point, neighbor, if you went around and look in shops, you see quarter bread, you see half a bread, you see less than quarter, you see 1/8. That was what Jamaicans were going through, and predominantly it was happening in the inner cities, right? Because you live a country, you probably can get a 1 and 2 mango off a tree and all of that. But in the urban areas, we changed it from saying inner cities to urban areas. It was almost like a staple for quite a large portion of persons. And the funny thing about it, neighbor, there is a thing that scientists and sociologists put together had what they call a 25% tipping point, where once it reaches 25% of a population, of any population, whether a group, a community, or whatever it is, once 25% of that population has formed a habit, they then consciously and unconsciously, directly and indirectly, neighbor, starts to shape the overall environment of the entire ecosystem that they're in. And that for Jamaica and Jamaicans overall has been the case for quite a long time, because people would have started adapting now to more of a survival mode. And the more it happened, 44,000 businesses shut down, hundreds and thousands of people fled, and the country had no level of production in order to be productive. So survival mode kicked in, and that was spreading like wildfire, right? And that pushed Jamaicans beyond that 25% tipping point in less than 5 years, rapidly. And that was unique to the region, right? We've only seen this happen in impoverished states, and predominantly that's the motherland in Africa for various reasons. But to see a country of Jamaica's caliber being able to break records of that manner, neighbor, and it wasn't on the tracks. It was a whole different track that we were running, and it wasn't a good one. Hence why we were heading to being the Greece of the Western Hemisphere. And it's not something we are proud to mention, but it's a part of our history. That's exactly where we were heading. And that was because of the poor management of the limited resources, which fell predominantly, neighbor, on two specific persons, which is Percival James Patterson and Omar Davis. And I singled them both out because PJ Patterson was a finance minister for, I think, about 18 months thereabout before he became prime minister.
Yes, right? the Shell waiver scandal drove him out of the government.
Right. And then he brought in terms of Omar Davis to take on that mantle, because, neighbor, the truth is, Omar Davis degrees in geography,
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, his brother is more is more into finance than him.
Yeah. And Omar Davis didn't dabble, because it is one thing to be certified in one area, but you've learned to master over time another, right? That didn't happen with him. So Omar Davis was really winging it left, right, and center, but every winging left, right, and center, neighbor, he was pocketing left, right, and center too. And that was why Mr. Shaw's statement that came from the US. And I know people is going to say yes, because US never like the socialism and all of that. That's nonsense. That's crap. Because within that same time, the same US enjoyed its best time in its history when it comes on to growth. And because we were in alignment with them, we're closer to them geographically and everything. They impact what we do because of the relationship. We still never took on some of the proper risk management that they had. Neighbor, people in Jamaica need to understand that we could have just adopted ideas from countries close to us. It wasn't that hard in the 90s to manage Jamaica properly. But you see, self-interest,
yes,
that hurt Jamaica. Because there was, neighbor, it was almost, Jamaica did the impossible. Let me put it that way. We did the impossible in the 90s. We somehow found ways to not grow. It was impossible to not grow between 1990 up to 2003, neighbor. It was impossible. But Jamaica found a way. The People's National Party under Percival James Patterson and Omar Davis as finance minister found the way. They did the impossible, neighbor. It wasn't something nations could fathom. And you hear people run. That is why the People's National Party surrogates and those persons run to Manly's period in a neighbor. Because what happened is that the people today, the larger part of the population, because Jamaica is somewhat more of a youthful population, have no idea about Manly. And as such, you can pass that off one way or the other. But why they can't speak about PJ's era, not because PJ is the worst prime minister ever in Jamaica's history, but because the persons they're echoing these things to can actually fact check them very easily just by lived experience. They could simply go to their mother and father and say, how was it in the 90s? The 20-year-olds now can easily do that. So they'll have not just the facts, but also lived experience. But what you can't ask is what happened in a Manly days. Not many persons are around that can properly impart that information to you the right way. And they know that. Hence why they're always trying to shape the narrative as to what they want to come out. Neighbor, if you look at the argument, they go for things that we may see.
Yes.
They talk about specific buildings, specific institutions. Never ever stopping to say that it doesn't matter who at that time was in power. They had to find a way to bring some of these things to life.
Yes.
The People's National Party at that time found the most inefficient way and ineffective ways to bring it to life. But nonetheless, they brought it to life, right? But they point to those things to say, look, they did all of this, buildings, institutions. When really and truly, if it was for proper management of the economy, you would need certain things. One of the biggest one that I love to talk about, neighbors, NHT. Jamaica really and truly, if they were being managed properly, never need NHT. You know?
Yes.
But because of the consequences, NHT is birthed out of that. Because we are, Scratchy said, we are beyond the likes of low-income housing, neighbor. And NHT is being blamed, the government is being blamed for mismanaging NHT when they have not done so. But when you roll back the tape, you know, and bring up what are the facts, the People's National Party and their surrogates remains silent, hoping that the facts will go away. But they have another guest coming. Because it's a hard thing to kill facts when persons are willing to stand up.
In that regard, in that regard, Harry, Holness is being judged unfairly because Holness is being judged based on the problems that he is having to tackle. But these aren't problems he created. Don't you think that if Holness and his party, the Jamaica Labour Party, is able to contextualize the debate over the next four years or so, they could be looking at a massive landslide, because quite frankly, the PNP's credibility to argue for re-election is weak, you know.
They don't have a pot on fire, neighbor, as they would say in Jamaican terms right now. Right? What they're doing, they are scavenging right now. They're trying to nitpick at things.
Throwing mud to hope something stick.
Yeah, everything. That is why what they've been doing since the election coming up, neighbor, has been sporadic fire. You realize they have not solidified anything yet, because there's nothing there. So they're going to be like what you know, them old time movies, neighbor, where the man have the machine gun and just spin it, the Gatling gun. That's what they're doing, and hoping that something will stick there and they can run with it for a time. Point in case, that is why they're still running with this IC thing.
Yes.
Right? Because they think that has stuck. But the only stuck is to show the IC that they aren't effective and they aren't efficient. And the truth will prevail. The facts will come to the forefront for that. But Mr. Holness is being judged by the futuristic expectations and results long before he even starts, neighbor.
Yes.
It is not that he's judged by, okay, he has these resources. What can we muster from it? He's not given a clean slate. He's given problems upon problems. The Andrew Holness and his team, neighbor, has not even gotten their own budget as yet.
Right.
They have to be making budgets for what has happened in the 90s and before that as well. They have never ever been able to say, all right, we have somewhat of a clean slate, let's go. They've still been, when you look at their slate, neighbor, running in a $2.2 trillion debt. They didn't create it. They look to now ensure that the country is back in a fiscal responsible way. They have to also match that with the expectations that its people is being exposed to from a global standpoint. Andrew Holness is not just carrying the weight of the people and their expectations in a neighbor. He has to be keeping up with the global trends in other countries that are well off. Because that is the standard he's unfairly been given to achieve. And he doesn't get a rest. Because the moment we have achieved something, for example, proper hospitals are coming to the forefront, he's being judged to say, listen, we're not on a road. When it's improper and poor maintenance of all of these institutions, this is one thing to build them. It's another thing to ensure that they're maintained.
Yes.
Right? And that is one of the major things. You know the major thing with a relationship, neighbor? A man can maintain a relationship because if he fails to maintain it, it fails. Right? A woman can initiate it in the way they do. But the longevity of that relationship actually depends on how the man delivers.
Yes.
And he has to ensure that he delivers. And that is what has happened with Jamaica. The People's National Party, as the man, failed to deliver, failed to understand how to maintain the relationship between government and those who elect them. And as such, we see where everything is being failed. Right? In a relationship, it would be poor communication. It would be not doing the quote unquote gender roles, not doing what a man should do. But in governance and to its people, it's not maintaining institutions, reducing corruption, ensuring that you put forward the best opportunities. That is what it equates to in the political fray and in the governmental standpoint. And the People's National Party, that them loves to put X, neighbor, got all of that wrong. Them full of X's. Right?
Yes.
And that is their report card that they have written. And they can't change it. There's this thing going on social media that say, that's why you can't rub out neighbor. That is exactly what's happening with the People's National Party. And the truth is being told.
Sorry, they have been bold, and I think embarrassingly so, in pushing this narrative that somehow They have the answers. But hold on, listen to Mr. Siaga, because we listened to Mr. Shaw earlier. We listened to Mr. Golden. We listened to Mr. Holness. Listen to Mr. Siaga as he outlined the problems that Jamaica were facing when he debated PJ Pats. Listen to Eddie.
The Jamaica Labour Party has watched with deep concern the events that have transpired over the past 10 years or more. And over this period, we have taken note of the fact that Jamaica has had virtually no economic growth. And we're the only country in the free world with that experience. Over this period, we have borrowed much more than is readily repayable. The national debt in 1988 was $33 billion. Today, it is some $600 billion, or nearly 20 times as much. Interest rates have crippled business expansion and job creation. The unemployment rate shows little or no improvement. Widespread business failures and financial failures have taken place. 40 financial institutions have collapsed. Virtually every sector of the economy is in decline or stagnating. Agriculture, every crop is in trouble. Manufacturing is in a continuous decline. Tourism is in crisis. Only the mining sector shows some slight ray of growth. The education system is still centered on educating a quarter of the students. Hence, 3 out of every 10 are illiterate when they graduate from primary school. Wow. 2 out of every 10 from secondary school, and 7 out of 10 have no passes at all.
Wow.
Crime has doubled,
wow.
10,000 killed.
Wow.
Corruption in office has been unprecedented.
Time up, and now we take.
My God. Crime has doubled, 10,000 killed. Harry.
Go ahead, neighbor.
We're going to need a therapist in Jamaica. These to listen to these things. Harry, we were in a bad state, you know, and it's not only that Mr. Siaga spoke to it, Mr. Golden spoke to it, Mr. Shaw spoke to it. There was nothing positive happening in Jamaica under the PNP. So why is it that we haven't been able to translate this goodwill that we are enjoying today towards Holness? Why is Holness not more credited for pulling Jamaica out of the demise?
Well, one of the things, now let me add this to neighbor, it's a continuous degradation or erosion, neighbor, of not just the social fabric of a society, but the economic as well.
Yes.
But why it hasn't translated to where we are now is 2 major things. You know, with globalization, people have been exposed to so many different things that are superior to us, right? That plays a big role in their expectation and experiences when they do travel elsewhere. Now, the next part of it, neighbor, is people are still in disbelief that we have moved forward. Here's why. We've been cultured for so long to say what was happening back then is the norm. And as such, when we look at that, neighbor, when something becomes almost second nature to you, you look for what is familiar. So what I'm saying is, Jamaicans are still stuck in a loop where we still find problems for every solution. The solution is there, neighbor, and we see it right throughout. Case in point, the People's National Party don't have anything close to an hour. In fact, they don't have anything. So what they do is try to magnify any shortcomings. And I mean, it was a bill. Nothing is ever perfect. No bill is ever perfect. But they magnify it in a way to say, let's demonize this.
Yes.
And they act upon the ignorance, the strategic execution of the ignorance, because this happened under them. The strategic ignorance that has been planted in Jamaica's society, neighbor, they've been able to extract and act upon it. It's actually an abuse of it. Because
Yes.
neighbor, if you know that somebody is not at a certain level and you go ahead and exploit them, you're worse than that person by far, because you're
Yes.
now taking advantage of somebody who doesn't know better. Somebody who doesn't hold all the information. And the People's National Party have done a fabulous job at doing that. And it's a bad thing, right? It is atrocious to see that a government would have done this to their very own people and blindsided them as well. So those two things, neighbor, is why we've been also saying Dr. Holness is fighting the very people
that he's helping
for themselves.
Let me ask you this finally, Harry. In bringing our program to its close tonight, would you help us to understand what did Mr. Holness inherit? Encapsulate that for us. Give us an understanding of what he really inherited.
Well, let's start with the debt, neighbor.
Yes.
2.5 trillion, roughly about that amount, right? Because in 2007, it was 2.2. The beautiful thing about that is even with Melissa, where we are now and what we've lost, we have equated that debt back to 2007 levels. People will look at it and say debt is debt. No, that's exceptional handling of a debt over a decade. It could have easily doubled.
So number one, he inherited a highly indebted country.
Exactly. A country, neighbor, let me put it in the phrase, a country that had to borrow to foot the budget. Because that is what also got.
We never had any money.
No money, neighbor. Right? He also inherited the #1 murder capital of the world.
Oh my God. So on top of you inheriting, I want you to write these down for me, moderator, because I think this is fascinating. I want you to write it down. So in on top of no money, you are coming to management, inheriting a country which is the most murderous, and you don't have any money.
No money, neighbor.
Oh my
right?
God. You don't have money to fix that problem.
None. And what that has done now in a neighbor, because it's a trickle effect of not having the money, So you can't prepare those who should serve and protect to actually serve and protect. That then breeds to the problem you have of corruption, because with crime comes corruption. What that in turn does, right, is now let crime be more attractive than any job creation there is.
Yes.
Now, the problem with that, the third one is we couldn't afford to educate our people. So we couldn't have produced workers for the workforce to be productive. So if we were to put it in case point, is the highly indebted nation, murderous capital in the world, which is high crime rate. We then look at the inability to be productive. And then we were in the Caribbean, the least attractive, barring Haiti, because we know what happened with them. We became the least attractive nation with the greatest potential.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the other point to it is that Mr. Holness also has inherited a cultural problem. Because as these things become the norm.
In other words, a behavioral problem.
A behavioral problem, neighbor. Right? He's then met with a consumerism problem. Because what that behavioral pattern has shaped is we look at it to say anything local, no good. And that entails every aspect of our lives. It entails leadership. It entails products. It entails services. Neighbor, it even entails the very things that can make us productive. So when you look at manufacturing, because this also kills manufacturing.
Please, Harry. It's hard to handle all of this. you are saying, Harry, that we were virtually on the brink of collapse. There's nothing
We were
going
right
on.
there. Neighbor, put it this way, right? If Andrew Holness and Jamaica Labour Party did not win the election in 2016 when they did, and taking into consideration all the events that came right after, the hurricanes, the natural disasters overall, and the pandemic, I can tell you we would have probably have IMF writing off the debt for Jamaica, meaning declaring Jamaica bankrupt. We would have been looking to run down what we saw happen in Zimbabwe, which was hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation.
Yes, neighbor. Right? And for that, what people don't understand is we were reaching a level where as the dollar slide, your money never worth nothing. And if your money not worth nothing, you cannot afford the basic goods and services needed to run a country. And if you can't afford to run a country, then that will have people now changing another behavioral pattern, neighbor, to turn on themselves. Because now survival instincts kicks in, and that is all that matters. That is where Jamaica was heading if people didn't understand. And we're not saying that Andrew Holness and his team is the Lord and Savior, but they've been doing a very good job to ensure that we not only step away from the brink of falling over the edge, neighbor, but they've now put up retaining walls to ensure that it's even harder to get to the edge. And they're also now pulling back the people, showing them that, listen, direction is more important than anything else right now. So he's steering us in the way in which we should have gone a long time ago, decades ago at that. And that is very important because direction in this manner, neighbor, is more important than even speed. Because you can go every and anywhere fast, but you can also be going nowhere. You cannot run in a circle. But when you are positioned in the proper direction, you will get to the destination in time. And this is a race Jamaica is running amongst themselves. There's nobody else. You don't need to compare where we are right now. Understand that the focus is on us, what we can do, how much better we can perform with what we have. Because the moment, neighbor, you keep peeping over your neighbor's fence and say, why grass over there so greener? You've neglected watering your end. And that is what Andrew Holness and his team is doing. Him a water the side where him depend. Yes, or next door look nice and pretty, but next door never always nice and pretty.
Yeah.
For example, Singapore, neighbor, was never ever green and nice and become a hub in Central Asia.
Quite true. Speak to the listeners as you close Jamaica, Harry. Speak to them about the fact that we need to, as a nation, appreciate the type of leadership we have simply because of where we were, where we are now, and the prospects of us going forward, even with COVID and Melissa in recent times, Harry. There is no question that every single Jamaican ought to show greater appreciation to Prime Minister Holness for the job that he is doing on behalf of Jamaica. Even if you look through partisan lens, you cannot deny, Harry, that Prime Minister Holness has rescued Jamaica, and Jamaicans ought to show appreciation for it. Speak to them.
Well, they definitely should, neighbor, because understand this. Those two activities, Melissa and COVID, when you look at what it has taken out, one brought a nation to stand still.
Yes,
Get the rest of the world.
Yes, and maybe you are the best person to, in one of these nights, to show us what COVID and Melissa did to Jamaica and where Jamaica would have been had it not been for those two events?
Yeah, so with it in a neighbor, when you put everything into context, COVID brought Jamaica to a standstill and of course the rest of the world. But it is more critical to us because of where we're coming from and what we were trying to do. What that means is that the government themselves is also at a standstill. Productivity wasn't there because, of course, nothing moves. But you also had to balance both the expectations and the livelihoods of its people to ensure that when we do weather the pandemic, you will have protected and put faith, right, and trust in the people, which is your greatest resource, to drive you forward the moment all doors are open, right? Now, when you look what COVID took out of the country, because if you're not producing and you're not able to do anything,
yes,
you still have debts to pay. You still have goods and
those two events, Harry, to be fair to us, had it not been for COVID and Melissa, Jamaica today would be booming.
Significantly, neighbor. Because
in other words, minimum wage would be greater than where it is.
It would have, right?
Yes.
The institutions that we're trying to build up now would have been in an advanced stage, right? Yes. So we may look at, for example, Spanish Town Hospital would have already been completed, yes. Right? Cornwall and all others. Now, when you look at what production that would have driven in Jamaica, neighbor, we would have been on the eye looking at far better nation. We would have been able to take advantage of many other things. And I want to point to Wavell Hines in terms of what he said shortly. We would have had the World Cup. We could have bid and be a part of the ICC World Cup that they so praise. But we didn't bid because we're not in the shape to have bid for it. Now, to add to it as well, neighbor, the debt would have been paid down even further.
In other words, there would be a lot more money to invest in social services and in the country generally.
Neighbor, let me tell you what that would have looked like. What we're praising now, the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of Security, that would have been achieved at least 5 years ago. Yeah. Because the force would have been well equipped, right? We would have been able to bring down so many things. When you look at employment, we wouldn't have been just looking at creating jobs.
We would have been
known. Technically, yes, yeah. Right? The pivoting to STEM would have been in an advanced stage. These things would have brought production back into Jamaica's system that has far left it for quite a while. The very things that would have pushed the people of Jamaica and pushed Jamaica's economic advancement would have been there. Investments would have come in. And I'm not speaking externally. I'm not speaking foreign investment. I'm speaking money from within. Right? That would have been generated. It's not something that's new to Jamaica. But the money couldn't get free up. Uh-huh. So when we look at all of that, neighbor, it is very critical to understand if these things weren't there. But more importantly, the fact that they happened, what was done to ensure that we're still in a strong position after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's two sides to it, but we will break it down one of these nights, neighbor. I'll go through to look at it in detail.
It would be a fascinating thing, because I think that is a lot of times missing from the program. Well, remember, Harry, we have to pick this up at another time. But tomorrow we'll have Natalie with us. Natalie from JPU. She'll be with us at 7 o'clock tomorrow, just about 7:30, and she'll be with us for most of the program. So tomorrow, come to the program at 7 o'clock, and we're going to be joined by Natalie from Jamaica Politics Uncovered. That's tomorrow. Natalie and your neighbor right here on the Politics Plus network, the Hello Neighbor show. You know who is over here with me at TikTok, Harry?
I have to be the one scratch neighbor.
Member Scratchy, how are you, sir?
Good night, neighbor. Good night, Caroline. Good night, Harry. No respect to the viewers and everyone. Only be everyone. Big up and enough love.
Yeah. Well, Scratchy, you've been listening in, judging leadership in the context of collapse, Holness to the rescue. We are suggesting that that the people of Jamaica are not looking at the context, Scratchy. They're not looking at what Holness inherited. They are judging him based on all the problems and the fire he's putting out. He's not the man that caused the fire, Scratchy. He's the one that came with the hose. We have to judge him fairly, no?
Definitely, neighbor. I often say the poor neighbor that whatever issues, whatever problems, whatever downfall Jamaica has, neighbor, it didn't start in 2016 when Andrew Holness neighbor became Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Yes.
Started his terms, neighbor. Andrew Holness neighbor is probably neighbor single. Probably can be single out neighbor as probably the only Prime Minister who concede neighbor, who rule over consecutive budget cycles neighbor, where no new tax were introduced on the backs of Jamaicans neighbor. Something that was new to us neighbor, that we weren't used to. Andrew Holness neighbor is probably neighbor the first Prime Minister again neighbor where every single budget cycle neighbor from 2016 to present neighbor, some form of revenue was given up neighbor. Some form of reprieve was given to the citizens of Jamaica neighbor in some way, shape or form. Andrew Holness neighbor is also the Prime Minister neighbor who has done more neighbor for the senior citizens of this country neighbor more than any other Prime Minister. And this is not to talk but I look down on any other Prime Minister neighbor, but we have to give to Caesar what is due to Caesar. And Andrew Holness neighbor is a Prime Minister neighbor who has managed neighbor not to fully tame crime and demand so-called crime and violence neighbor.
Yes.
But he invested in the security forces neighbor. We see crime now at a level where, yes neighbor, the perception of crime is very high, and I think that is what persons are mixing up. That's why some persons cannot come to the reality that we have a 48% reduction in homicides, because the perception is still very high amongst the country neighbor.
Yes.
But in reality, neighbor, the numbers are falling drastically, you know? So once the numbers are falling drastically, neighbor, it shows that lives have been saved. So Andrew Holness neighbor is not only balancing the book, neighbor, he's also balancing lives, you know? He showed us that, neighbor, from COVID, because a lot of the measures that was introduced by the Prime Minister during COVID, neighbor, is also can be attested and can be said, is as a result of those measures, neighbor, why as a small developing nation and a resource nation like Jamaica neighbor, we didn't manage to reach certain level of life loss to a certain level neighbor where it was very concerning. We were lives were lost neighbor. One life is still too many. But neighbor, in the context and where we are from our economic standpoint, our financial strength and financial ability neighbor, we managed to control COVID to a certain level. You know, and at the same time controlling COVID to a certain level, neighbor, we manage neighbor to also balance a lot of lives, neighbor. So that a person might say, yes, this amount still pass and scratchy, but it could have been worse if it wasn't for the strong leadership of Andrew Holness neighbor. He's a Prime Minister neighbor who, one of the main things why I admire Andrew Holness so much neighbor is because of how he's not afraid neighbor to make decisions neighbor that are not in his best political interests at times neighbor. He's the Prime Minister neighbor where if A needs to be done neighbor and A neighbor is going to cause some form of ruckus or some form of rumble against persons neighbor from a political standpoint, but that is what the country needs right now and it is in our best interest. He's a Prime Minister who is not afraid neighbor to do exactly what needs to be done and what is in the best interest, whether he has to put his own political life at stake or anything, neighbor. He is not a political leader. He's not someone who only looks out for all persons who support the Jamaica Labour Party. He's definitely class himself, neighbor, style himself, neighbor, as a leader, as a Prime Minister for the whole of Jamaica. And it is also a shame when you see some of the verbal attacks that come towards this man, neighbor.
Yes.
It is so ashamed, neighbor, when you see some of the things that are being spoken of this man, neighbor. It is so ashamed when you see some of the institutions of government, neighbor, with a clear bias towards this man, neighbor. And it is also so ashamed, neighbor, to know that a prime minister like Andrew Holness who has done more for Jamaica, neighbor, from an infrastructure standpoint than any other prime minister again. We bash him and people talk about him in such bad light.
That's true.
Look at the road network of Jamaica. When you look at the road network across the length and breadth of Jamaica.
Yes.
Andrew Holness transformed the road network.
The amount of people that have jobs that were not working when he came to power. Almost 300,000 Jamaican scratchy. This man put 300,000 Jamaica to work.
300,000 Jamaicans neighbor now in the workforce neighbor.
Not only that, Scratchy, but every single public sector worker is now better paid than ever before in their history.
Better paid neighbor. We'll talk about public sector worker neighbor and look about the public sector transformation that came with the salary increase neighbor. That is something neighbor that was on the book neighbor for over 20 years neighbor, where politicians neighbor, prime ministers, another member, finance minister neighbor, were afraid to really take up this public sector transformation thing, neighbor, and put it on a right level. How many other prime minister neighbor would have boldly come out and increase the salaries of parliamentarians and government workers, public sector workers neighbor, to such level, and know that this is in the best interest of the country. And despite whatever political backlash I might get from it, I am willing to stand up and explain to the people why I did this. And now, neighbor, we can't cuss no more. Persons who are cussing neighbor, them have to shut up, because with the increase in the salary neighbor, we have seen the great minds that government is now attracting that government could not attract before. When you look at Dana Morrison Dixon neighbor, someone who's coming from the public sector neighbor, the previous salary before neighbor that politicians were getting neighbor, you couldn't pay Dana Morrison Dixon that neighbor.
Audrey Marks.
Dana Morrison is coming from Dana Audrey Marks, and look at even Audrey Marks neighbor. When you look at the position that these persons hold in their private life, and whatever they were being compensated neighbor, and the skill set and the mind that these persons have neighbor, we know that these persons coming to government, these persons can share a lot and have a lot to do with the government neighbor. When you look at even the master class, Nigel Clark himself neighbor.
Well,
so it goes to show neighbor that Andrew Holness neighbor also possesses a skill neighbor where he can attract the best talent from out of the private sector.
Yes.
To come to the public sector neighbor, and as for the public sector to come to for the private to come to public. And Andrew Holness neighbor, but with that increase in the public sector wage neighbor, it pushed the private sector now neighbor to also offer greater compensation neighbor towards its employees and its workers as well, because it is normally the private sector who pays more than government. And Andrew Holness neighbor has done something neighbor where he has pushed the private sector to dip further into their pocket neighbor and have a bigger compensation package to persons who carry out functions and duties neighbor that are very important. All I can say neighbor is that all of us who hold the Jamaican bird paper, all of us who have this awesome ability neighbor, this awesome power, all this awesome thing neighbor to be born as a Jamaican, all of us owe this man some form of gratitude neighbor.
I think so too.
All of us neighbor, all of us owe this man some form of respect. You don't have to like him,
yes,
but owe him some form of respect neighbor. To know that the leadership style that Andrew Holness has brought to Jamaica, the creativity that Andrew Holness has brought with his leadership neighbor, is what neighbor is saving us, and is what has put us in a position neighbor where on the international market neighbor we can be seen neighbor with some form of respect. We know our prime minister like Andrew Holness can be invited to the G7, where the 7 richest nation, or the G20, and go to the UN Assembly and speak on climate change and be given high position to speak on climate change and stuff like that neighbor. We all neighbor should be proud neighbor and know that Andrew Holness is responsible for the rapid change in Jamaica neighbor, not just from a political standpoint, because I often tell you, Andrew Holness changed how we see politics in Jamaica, and he has also changed how we see governance in Jamaica neighbor. It is as a result of Andrew Holness' leadership style, leadership quality, his charisma, and everything neighbor, his understanding of what Jamaicans want, why we see we have managed neighbor to reach a certain level of reduction in major crime that we are seeing right now, the reduction in the poverty rate, the reduction in the high level of unemployment. What needs to be done now, neighbor? Andrew Holness and his government neighbor has done enough. You know neighbor, and a lot of our viewers and everyone know neighbor. to reshape any nation, neighbor. The responsibility, neighbor, to reshape or to shape any nation is not totally the responsibility of the government of that nation alone, neighbor. It is a collaborative effort between government and citizens, neighbor, to shape the country to how we want it. And Andrew Holness, neighbor, has done his part. He has set the policies, he has set the programs, and he has created the economy in a way, neighbor, where money is flowing in the economy, neighbor. And where Jamaica is failing from now, neighbor, Jamaica is now failing now, neighbor, from a personal standpoint. When I say personal standpoint, I mean each of us as individuals, neighbor, we don't share a collective vision of where we want to see Jamaica. We don't share a collective vision as to how we view and see crime and violence. We don't share a collective vision as how we see poverty and
we're gonna
imagine being able to build
sorry about that. We're gonna do it Scratchy. You don't think, Scratchy, that if the government, the Labour Party, should really take my advice and to context Holness in the way I'm suggesting, that they show what he inherited, do a contrast, that Holness could win a landslide? He has another landslide in him. You don't think so?
Definitely, neighbor. I said the Jamaica Labour Party, neighbor. The Jamaica Labour Party has a philosophy, neighbor, a belief, neighbor, that whenever they come to serve, neighbor, they come to serve the best interests of Jamaicans, neighbor. They are not a political organization, neighbor, who likes to tout individual praises or like to push individual praises or glorification on individual, neighbor. They move as a collective group. They are different from the PNP, the opposition, who tend to do stuff for the best interests of Jamaicans, for Jamaica, from a political standpoint. So yes, neighbor, I believe, neighbor, that in this day and age, it is now easy to put out information, it is now cost effective, neighbor, to put out information. I think it will be best, neighbor, if the Jamaica Labour Party create something around Andrew Michael Holness.
Yes, neighbor, they need to build a campaign around him to show. Yes, you're right, sir.
Yeah. And I don't think, neighbor, that the traditional way of how they normally do these type of public education, neighbor, I would ask them to deviate from the traditional way, neighbor, where you go to media houses and you give media houses these large sum of money, and you go to other companies and ask companies to create and formulate these type of advertisement for you.
Yes.
And those persons benefit financial from it. And then when the message is being disseminated and being put out there, it is being put through channels and forums, neighbor, where the real persons we want to connect and get this understanding, neighbor, miss them. Because 2030, neighbor, is 4 years from now, neighbor. A person who's currently 15-year-old, neighbor, will be 19-year-old, 16 years old, will be 20-year-old. Those are the persons, neighbor, who are going to be first-time voters come the next election in 2030. And I believe, neighbor, that the Jamaica Labour Party, neighbor, should shift its focus, neighbor. Not to really say shift its focus, but put some form of focus towards this demographic.
Yes.
Neighbor. Going to the schools, go directly to the schools, neighbor. When you look at even the government achievement, I saw where the Prime Minister went out there in Arbitrary, good move. But neighbor, the schools in Jamaica is a very big population, neighbor. We have so many students in these schools, neighbor. We have over 180 high schools. Going to these schools, target these students. And out of these students, neighbor, they live in hard rock PNP communities where the message that they are hearing, neighbor, is one type of song you sing to them. And is that Andrew Holness no good, Andrew Holness no good. Going to these schools, create public education forum, going to these schools
and show the students the country what the Prime Minister inherited.
Yes, so you have to show these students, neighbor, because they are going to be the voters who are going to come up, neighbor. My grandmother always tell me, neighbor, say you can't bend the tree when it's gone too big, you know. And I think, neighbor, a lot of focus is being placed and the adults, neighbor, are some toughened adults, neighbor, in Jamaica, neighbor, who will not, or they will never come to the realization, or they will never try to have any form of appreciation for this Jamaica Labour Party-led government, neighbor, because of how they view things and how their vision has been skewed, and how they have been manipulated, and how they have been cult, the cult-like tradition that they have been brought up in, neighbor. So we need to go into the schools neighbor and break these students who live in these diarted PNP communities and these diarted PNP constituencies. Give them a chance where they can see things different, where they can see things from an independent standpoint. Not to say, oh, you're marketing the Jamaica Labour Party. Because when I use the schools to market the Jamaica Labour Party, you use the schools to push the narrative of the government of the day.
Yes.
And push that the government is doing this, the government is doing that. When you look at even our bill neighbor, our class as the most consequential bill as NARA neighbor. NARA is something neighbor that should be, that every single student, every single high school student in Jamaica should have some form of understanding. So when time them diarted PNP mother and them diarted PNP father, sit down and them house and watching news and talk bad about near and neighbor. The Bible says a child shall lead the way. Your child can correct them and tell them, say, no, mommy, no, daddy. You know, so some persons on the ministry came to my school and talked to me and tell me, say, the NARA thing is a good thing. This is what NARA going to do, mommy. This is what NARA going to do, daddy. And highlight them things that we have to show people these things, neighbor. We have to show people, say, yo, you live in a community that is an informal community. We don't have a proper sewage line in the community. You don't have proper potable water in the community. You don't have electricity in the community. If there is any farm of fire, it is very difficult for the fire brigade to come there because your community was not equipped with any form of hydrants. You know, if there's any crime and violence or anything, and police need to come in there because these things are not formal roads. It is very difficult for police neighbor to go down these lanes and these avenues. We have to show people neighbor that it is not right to live in these conditions. We have to show people that even though you might live in this condition for an extended or overextended period of time, it is not right. You deserve much better. And whatever the PNP or whoever put you in this condition, they did injustice.
Yeah.
They didn't have any respect for you. They didn't have any love for you. They didn't have them take away your dignity.
Yeah.
Take away your pride. Because they put you to live in a condition where you can't even dispose of your waste in a proper way. You can't even call for the emergency service and them come in a timely manner because of your living condition. Informal communities, neighbor, is one of the biggest problems in Jamaica right now. Tenement yard, so-called tenement yard, neighbor, is the worst thing that you can bring up a child in. It is responsible for sexual abuse.
Yes.
It is responsible for persons growing up and now no pride. Neighbor, tenement yard is one of our biggest problems in Jamaica from a history, from a psychological standpoint. And we have to fix these things. We have to make people know, say, yo, we deserve better. And the way you are living, it is not conducive. It is not humane. And you have to try to take yourself and have a rebel to the politician or whoever on the political representative and tell them so on a trick where I'm putting me in a slum for live. And I could feel like so I do something for me. When time in a real life, when they take away my dignity, when they take away my pride, when they take away my ability for any time I go outside of my community, me shame people say I come from this community because deep down in my brain, I know how outside view and see my community.
Fantastic, Scratchy. Well, it's great. Gonna have to leave it there for tonight. Very good intervention from you, my brother. Respect all the time. Just want to say to the listeners, please remember, we're gonna be live on TikTok tomorrow at 7 o'clock with Natalie from JPU. We hope you will join us then. Please remember, if you want to support Politics Plus, the Hello Neighbor Show, the Zelle account is 954-635-8732. That's 954-635-8732. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Member Harry, close us out for me, please, over TikTok, and let your friend go and lie down.
All right, neighbor. Another successful night, neighbor, definitely. I feel always thank our listeners, our loyal subscribers and some people will say fans, but both locally and in the diaspora, neighbor, I have to always give them thanks. I have to always listen to say, hey, you come here every night, you give your time, you give your gifts as well, you contribute to the program and so on to keep it on air. You've done the bit. But again, every night I'll say, like, share, and subscribe specifically for the YouTubers, because that also helps us spread the message, give Jamaicans, edify them, give them the facts so they can come out of the feelings and have conversations, meaningful conversations that builds a nations for generations to come. And it starts here. So, thanks for everybody who was, tap up the screen over TikTok, give gifts, those who are giving donations, those who like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here Mondays to Fridays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Almost at 10 a.m. in a neighbor. But thanks again as we look to grow together. As we look to ensure that Jamaica gets the information that they truly need and that they truly deserve. Politics Plus Network, we are dedicated as a team to this, and we can't thank you enough. But of course, there's more work to be done. There's a lot of things in the pipeline to come to the forefront. So you can always go over the Hello Neighbor store, look at the merchants, buy merchants for a friend, a family, and even yourself. And of course, again, tell a friend to tell a friend, and tell that friend tell a friend. Turn up every night again, give the support so we can move the program forward and get the message out there. This is where conversation matters, and this is the home for it.
Fantastic. Great closing for you there, brother Harry. Can't say anything else to that. Want to thank very especially Neville. Neville, want to thank you so much for your support and contribution to the Politics Plus show. I appreciate that. You hear, sir? Please, thank you so much. CEO Ross, thank you. All of my listeners, all of you who have made a contribution, want to thank you so much. But had to specially mention Neville tonight because you the half has not been told. Thank you so much, sir, for all that you do for us. I'm going to be having a nice little announcement for you on Friday. You want to stay tuned for that. In addition to the fact that we're going to be having Natalie, we're going to have a nice little announcement to make for next week. Okay, so stay tuned for that. You'll hear about it tomorrow. A little niceness coming for you next week. A little niceness coming for you next week. You can't afford to miss that. Tune in tomorrow and you'll hear about that. So once again, thank you so much. YouTube, take good care of yourself, and catch you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Bye-bye. All right, TikTok.